obviously, you know, I have some pride. Like I like to eat nice places. So
Of course.
if I was single, I would be going to nice places. I like to eat good food.
Yeah.
But I'm saying you don't have to do like some impression, impress. You know.
Yeah.
So
That-
I'm gonna ask you. I like that you said that. I know Omar, you and Candace's first date was breakfast, right?
Breakfast.
There
Okay.
you go.
Right.
And I bet you any money, you
Right.
guys were just
Bro,
vibing.
The best day,
Vibing.
bro. We sat
Vibing.
at breakfast
Yeah.
for 2 hours.
Yes.
How you sit
Yeah.
at breakfast?
Yeah.
Breakfast takes 30 minutes, bro. 2 hours at
Yeah,
breakfast.
it's the vibe.
You see what I'm saying? So Omar's first date was at breakfast, right? You said you guys didn't have to spend a bunch of money, and it was just a really nice date. On our page, I was scrolling through the comments, and I seen a young lady say that I'm tired of dudes trying to take me on a coffee date.
Oh, I saw that comment.
Right? I don't want a dude to take me on a coffee date. I want you to spend some money to show me that you invested in me. Right? It kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And it rubbed me the wrong way because I actually know people who really get to know each other over coffee dates, over breakfast, over things like that. Over lunch, you know, and I think it's a little bit more appropriate as well too, because the sun is out.
Yes.
Right. So
Yes.
I'm not trying to take you to the crib after this. Like that's not what this message is portraying. So speaking to that, like I think it's important to understand that, like, yo, how we spend this first date monetarily doesn't matter at all. So hearing that message coming from you is super dope.
No.
And you know what? This is where I want to start the conversation today, right? I think the beginning of a relationship tends to imitate or at least give us some idea of how the relationship also could potentially end, right? And I think this is such a great subject. These men here on this particular show, I mean, they're amazing. I can't lie to you. These three men. Simone Panda is a workout person. He's amazing. The three other dudes on this podcast, they always talk about positive things when it comes to relationships. I can't wait to start kind of really like doing commentary on their YouTube because they always have great positive videos. But I want to talk about this key situation, right? And I said, if your relationship begins like this, I believe it will succeed, right? If your relationship begins like this, I believe it succeed. What he's described there is something that I believe that when I've heard a few married couples, how they tell us their story, it tends to begin like this, right? They have a date, and it's not necessarily a high-pressure date. It's not some go to the Shard, for those of us in UK, Shard, or go to the most expensive restaurant. It starts off really innocuous, like it's a coffee date, it's ice cream, it's a walk in the park. It is, go for Starbucks or whatever, or go to something really that you're not putting such a heavy monetary price on. And the reason why I believe that a lot of the marriages and relationships I hear when they have gone for a long time, when they tell their story, how it starts, is because the focus isn't about money. The focus is, I want to get to know you. And it's interesting because the focus then becomes about this exploration of a journey of discovery of a person, right? Now, I'm not going to say that every date has to be that way. I'm not saying that everybody's first date has to be that way. I'm not even shaming anybody if you decide you want an expensive restaurant. But I will ask the key question, which is your focus about trying to prove something? That's for the men. Are you trying to prove that you're the big dog? You got money, you got this, you got that? Is it an external trying to proving that you're doing this huge gestures of going these mad kind of crazy dates at the beginning? For the ladies, is it for you? Are you trying to tell the homegirls like how amazing your first date was and try to almost compete? Are you going on these wanting these big dates for the man to prove that you're worth something rather than actually understanding that this is a connection we're trying to build? Let me tell you something. Some of the most amazing moments I've had with women, and of course I'm not married, so don't take everything I say to heart, right? I'm sure some of the married people in this chat can tell you, but some of the best moments I've had with women has not been at an expensive date, has not been when I've spent 200, 300 pounds, and I have done that on a date, don't get it twisted. And I've enjoyed those days, don't get it twisted as well. But there have been those tender moments. Like I remember one time, me and a girl, literally, there was a group of us and we sat down in my living room. It was early in the morning, like 6 o'clock in the morning. and we're just sitting there and we're just having a conversation. Like we literally spoke for the next 3 or 4 hours, and I can remember how fulfilled I felt in those hours. There was no focus of, you know, trying to impress, trying to, you know, trying to show off or anything like that. It was simply about the other person. And what do you think? Where's your mind? Oh, is that what you think? Right, I never thought about that. I think this, you know, and just having a conversation and a dialogue, right? I've gone into dates where I've also gone to coffee dates as well, and it's been really chill. Like, you just go, you have a conversation, you chat, you know, you're just enjoying each other's presence. Now, I'm not saying that someone can't spend money. I'm not saying it's wrong to necessarily spend money. I'm asking the question, is your motive for one to spend money on a first date, so much money on a first date, more about the external factors than actually the internal factors? And that's both men and women. As I said again, for the men, are you just trying to show off? And for the ladies, I'm asking the question, are you trying to show off? Do you want him to prove something to you? And to the men, are you trying to prove something to her? Because really, when I hear a lot of these beginnings of relationships, and I hear about people talking about their marriages, oftentimes it's not about expensive dates at the beginning. And besides, I'm really talking about more when you don't even know each other. I'm not really talking about later on. I'm talking about you don't even know each other. You know, you're trying to get to know each other. And we're already applying pressure. You know, my standard is I go to these type of restaurants only. And it's like, is that really what you need in order to really get to know this person? Right? Is that all we're trying to prove? See, the reality is, if I get into a place where I start trying to prove, I'm already in a bad place. No, I want to be able to show you who I am. I want to be able to showcase, this is me. Do you accept it? Do you not accept it? Are you cool with it? You're not cool with it. I want to get to know you. I want to get to know your mind. I want to get to know who you actually are. I actually want to communicate. Right? I really want to communicate. So that's why I said, like, I love things like coffee dates. And when I hear couples have gone into, maybe not a coffee date, it might have been an ice cream. They might have gone for a walk in the park. They might have, you know, grabbed some food and gone. Or they might have gone for a car drive or something like that. Something where it allows them just to be able to be spending time with each other. You know what I mean? I'll tell you, look, maybe when I get my next relationship, I don't want to spoil it, you know what I mean? But my next relationship, you know, I would love just go for a car ride, grab some food, get in a car, and like, there's a place in London, especially, I love it, but we can do it in Birmingham too. But there's a place in London I remember when I went to, and you can oversee the city. You see the business arena of London, like Canary Wharf, and it's like this little ramp, and the car just parks there. And I was like, when I literally sat there, and I'm looking at there, and I'm like, yo, this would be a wavy place just to have a date. It's not high pressure crazy. It's just, we can just chill. We can watch. We can see the distance. We can chill we can eat some food, grab some drink, and we can talk. Because I value the communication. If I'm just getting to know you, you know what I mean? Like, if I know you already, then of course we're gonna start planning things that you actually like. But you know, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I love that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because it means I can get to grips with who you are. You know? So I'm not saying it's wrong if you want the expensive date. I'm asking the question, what is your motivation when they don't know who the heck you are? They have no clue who you are. Now, of course, if you both enjoy the finer things in life, then you found your place. It's not a big deal. But I'm talking about the majority of us, the general population of us. Most of us are trying to prove something. Like, it's like we're trying to prove something. And that's why I love what conversation we're going into. And I want to spend a bit more time on their conversation. But before we do anywhere, like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of the uploads as well, guys. All right. Yeah. All right. Let's get into this, man. Let's talk a little bit more about this, man. I love this kind of stuff.
Super dope.
How's the dating mentality different in the UK as opposed to US?
Oh, okay. I don't know. Shit on my UK guys, but I feel like they're less inclined to spend money, like less inclined to want to. So like over here, I see like guys do a lot, man. You lot go in, like you go in like on like dates, and I don't think that they do that in the UK.
Mm.
You know, I think that people are more reserved to do that in the UK for whatever reason. Not saying it's good or bad, but they're definitely more reserved in the UK to being like to spending money. You know, so, and that's not even just maybe on the date or impressing the lady, on them, like just in to have a good time for yourself.
Yeah.
Like spend money, man. Have a
Yeah.
good time.
Yeah, in UK we don't do that. I'll be honest with you. That is not our MO. That's not our style. British people are very more conservative. So we're not the kind of people that are going to splash out. Like when you come to America, I see how people they ball out. Even Nigerians will do it when they come. They ball out. Yeah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that in the UK. Okay, I'm not saying that people don't ball out, don't splash out. I'm saying that that is not our natural MO, because British people are very much chill. British people are pretty much chill. You know what I mean? So for me personally, yeah, well, there's a big difference between Americans and UK people when it comes to that kind of splashing and stuff around. I'll be honest with you. Listen, I'm a person. Listen. On one day, I went with a girl. I went top golf in America. I enjoyed myself. Let me tell you something. Look, I told you. Listen, I keep saying it. Listen, for me personally, I can spend money. It's not a big deal, but because I'm not that is not, first and foremost, I don't value that. So it's not going to be my MO, right? But I value the time that I spend with you. And if I can get to know who you are and spend that time with you and have a conversation, I'm going to be working with it. When I was in America, I went to dinner, and I went top golf with a young lady, beautiful young lady. Shout out to her as well. And that was amazing. Let me tell you why. The dinner itself, we had dinner, ate some food, we really enjoyed. We chopped up for an hour or two. Then we was like, "What do you want to do?" I was like, "I'm still young. What would you say? Let's go top golf." I had never been. I was like, "All right, let's go top golf. Don't mind. Get to top golf, play a few rounds of top golf." Let me tell you something. I enjoyed myself. Let me tell you something. We had a healthy competition. We went at it. We played. We had fun. We joked. We spoke in between as well. And because we done quite a lot of conversation already at the dinner, because we had a lot of conversation at dinner. It wasn't required necessarily at top golf. We could still just focus on playing top golf, playing it, having fun, trying to beat each other. Hey, my score, I'm just saying, listen, my score was like 1,000 and something. Just saying. My score was like 1,000 and something. Just saying, listen, don't play with it. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. It was definitely I've got it in my phone somewhere. I think the girl sent me the picture. Like I got like 1,000 and something. Listen, don't play with me. Okay. All right. I got it. So for me, I value that. I love that because again, I got to spend time, but I also got to enjoy, the presence of that person. And like I said, me personally, I don't know. Maybe the people I'm meeting are meeting me at the place that I'm at. Meaning, I'm not necessarily a person that's going to be spending I know you say thousands, majorly hundreds every single time I go on a date. Sometimes I want to have fun. I want to be able to have a conversation. I want to be able to just vibe. You know what I mean? So you have to work with whatever you want. So if you're high end, that's you. Find the people that are going to be high end. If you're low end, find the people that are low end. If you're middle end, find the people that are middle end. You got to find your people, got to find your tribe in that sense. But like I said, the focus, I believe that earlier dates should be focused on you being able to spend time with that person. I love a good bowling as well. Bowling's fun as well because, again, you get to have a bit of competition, but also at the same time get to speak, get to talk, as well. On another date, we literally went to a park, this park that was really cool. I love the park. It was a nice little park. It was quite huge actually, big park. And walked and we sat down and saw the scenery was beautiful. Oh my gosh, I'll put it in my blog. The scenery at this park was a freaking one. Oh my gosh, the sun was setting and the heat had died down a little bit, and the park just was beautiful, right? Sat down, spoke, just had a conversation, got to know each other a bit more. and just literally just vibed, right? Then, you know, got up, walked. Then we went like, all right, let's get some food. Went to get some tacos. I've never eaten tacos before. I'm new to eating tacos. I've never ate tacos in my entire life. Had tacos, chilled, talked, vibed. Went, stayed at the pool. Listen, I was at the pool and I chilled. We chilled at the pool and we're just swatting our feet in the water. I swear to God, it was the best thing I've ever done. You know what I mean? I shouldn't say sort of God. I'm so sorry, right? But like it was the best thing ever. Literally sat by the pool at the end and just swaddled our feet in the water and just spoke. What? I said, this is the best. This is one of the best things ever. Like for me, those are experiences that I value. But again, that's me, and that's not everyone. Not everyone needs to do that. What I'm saying is, find what works for you, but spend time with each other. You know what I mean? Like spend time with each other. That's what I'm trying to say to you. Like get to know each other, and that's what these brothers are talking about. Simone Panda here was telling us about how he went to a restaurant called Giraffe. The food is not expensive at Giraffe. It's like 20, 25 pounds, 30 pounds max. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't expensive restaurant he took her to. You know what I mean? Get to know that person, take away the pretenses, take away the showmanship, get into that person's mind and see, is this person right for me? Enjoy yourself, man. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, when people like you, you're not having to do all this madness. But a lot of times people are trying to, you see, that I think the biggest issue we have in dating is the pretense, because a lot of people, you don't even like each other. You know what I mean? Some of you don't even like each other, but you're trying to, but you know what? That guy or that girl didn't stand a chance with you. And you're now trying to prove to that person that they stand a chance. Oh, it's too much. You know, it's too much. Yeah, it's too much. You know what I'm saying to you? So I'm saying again for the brothers out there, you know, I'm saying for the brothers out there personally, stop trying to go for women. Stop choosing these women that you know that you weren't even, these women are not fully invested in you anyway, because that's what you're usually having to prove something. You know what I mean? I'm talking about something very specific, you know? So I'm not saying anybody who's going high end is proving anything. I'm talking about specifically something to deal with men specifically. A lot of us as men, like we're choosing women, and I've seen it in my own two eyes, like they're choosing women that aren't really fully invested. They don't really like them. You know what I mean? But you're literally trying to persuade her with this money and this day and it's like, bro, you gonna suffer. You are gonna suffer. You know that, right? You're gonna suffer. And so that's what I said about the beginning. Um, you know, I said about the beginning, um, as a way of just being very careful. So I'm not saying you have to follow my particular lead. I like what I like. You know what I'm saying to you? I like what I like. What I'm saying is though, when people like you, listen, women say the craziest thing. Listen, let me be real with you. You ladies say the craziest things about dates till you like a man. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Now, some of you are gonna tell me you hold your high standards high. Fantastic. I appreciate that, and I love that. But the man didn't be keep it real with you. These women, when they like you, when these women like you, what you do and what the other man does, he can do more and still he'll be in the same position. You know what I'm saying to you? I'm just keeping it real. I've my own two eyes. I've seen man them. Yeah, I've seen man them who ain't ish. Okay, but the girl likes him. He doesn't do anything. He just basically just take. He might even take it to. He can drive them to McDonald's and the girl will accept it. Do you know why? Because she likes him. A lot of people don't like a lot of people. I keep telling y'all. I'm not saying that you have to go to somewhere. I'm not telling you to go to somewhere. I'm not telling you to do this particular. But what I'm saying is a lot of people don't actually like the other person or vice versa. And what happens is that's why y'all are all pretending. This is why the dating scene be messed up, because a lot of people have to keep pretending and trying to do the most. But when I look at some of the brothers that are happy in their relationships, I'm not saying they have to go to McDonald's. I'm not saying go to McDonald's, guys. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that when someone likes you, they're down for you. You get what I'm saying to you, right? They're down for you. So I'm saying not that you don't put an effort in, but I'm saying take away the pretense. Take away the pretense, take away the motivation to try and prove. Okay. And by the way, I get it. We're not saying let you go to Mackie D's or anything like that per se. Although, you know, it might not necessarily be Mackie D's, but you might want to grab an ice cream from there. You might want to grab a McFlurry. You know what I mean? And you might want to go for a walk. Now I know some of you don't want to do that because some of you believe you're beyond a McFlurry and a walk. So I hear that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, I'm just keeping it real. You know, we can go to an ice cream parlor, whatever, grab some ice cream. Like, again, the focus isn't about the money. It shouldn't be about it. It should be about the time you're spending with that person. And that's what I'm saying to you, that. And I get it also at the same time. We're trying to vet. So I understand that. I'm not saying go to McDonald's per se. What I'm saying is, where is the motivation lying? What are you actually valuing when you're spending time with that person? Is it the money and the showmanship and the outer appearance, or is it that person that you're looking at? Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Someone said, am I sponsored by Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts? I don't even like Dunkin' Donuts, for honest. I don't like Dunkin' Donuts like that, personally. I don't like Dunkin' Donuts. I like Starbucks, though. I like their Frappuccino. You know what I'm saying to you? I like their Frappuccino. You know, so what I'm saying is, what is it that you're valuing? You know what I mean? Katie says she's allergic to McDonald's, the park, and the coffee, and that's fair. If that's what you're allergic to, I can't be mad at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone's got to find their tribe. We're not trying to force anyone into something. But like I said, how many of you actually like the other person? Because a lot of people don't like people, and this is what I'm trying to say to you. That's why I said, and that's why I give the example of McDonald's. I'm not saying you have to go to there, but I'm saying that you will realize that the small things count, not the big things. The showmanship that a lot of men sometimes do, it don't mean nothing if you don't actually like the person, or if you're trying to prove to the person that you're worthy. Oh man, you're down on the death, man. You're down on the death, man. And that's why I said that what he just mentioned about him going to Giraffe, him mentioning that he and his wife went to breakfast before they became husband and wife, like those little things there. Now the story has to be, we went to the most expensive restaurant, and then now, and you know what? You rarely hear. And anyway, my perspective, because I'm not on that echelon, I'm not on that class level. You know what I mean? I'm not that class level. For our level, you rarely hear people tell stories about, yeah, our first day was a shard and look, we're happily ever after here. What you hear is, we had a conversation. We spoke all night. We went breakfast. We went, you know, we did this all that, and we spent an insurmountable amount of time just talking, vibing, knowing each other. You know what I mean?
You know, so, and I know people might think, oh, but you're contradicting what you said. No, I always said, like, enjoy yourself,
Right.
but don't just try and lead with that. You know,
Right.
so
Because that'll be basically what you're based off of.
Yeah,
Everything, right?
you know,
So now I know you've been living in LA. I mean, you've been living in LA for how long?
7 years now.
7 years.
Yeah.
So you're far removed from like UK. But in terms of, I know you watch on social media, you see all like the gender wars,
Yeah.
and like the men and women on podcasts talking about, you know, I'm right, this, that, right? Is that the same here as it is in the UK, or is it like, have you noticed any difference?
I've been gone for too long, man.
Gone for too
I've
long.
been gone for too long.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing what you guys are seeing
Mhm.
on the
Right.
algorithms, you know.
Yep.
So and it's seeming like it's just becoming one message.
Yes.
Like
Everywhere.
between the US and the UK.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Yeah, listen, and the beautiful thing about what he was mentioning is that I know he's been away for a little while. I haven't, so I can tell you, we're almost in the same place as Americans right now. We're almost in the same place. We're having the same arguments. We're having the same rhetoric. We're having the same conversation. We're having the same fears, the same insecurities. We're having the same old circular motion conversation, because we're so much global now, especially with the internet and social media, that a lot of the ideas are being conflated. Some of the things that even happen in America that don't even happen here are being conflated, right? As soon as, and I'm not sure who starts it. You know, now we're on this whole conversation. Black men are so sassy. Now we're sassy on the UK, we're sassy on the US, we're sassy everywhere. And it's like, oh, okay, we're having the same conversation everywhere, because in reality, we're global. So conversations are transferring over. It doesn't actually necessarily mean that's actually the case, or whether it's not the case, because it could be both. It could be true, but whatever. But we're having the same conversation because the reality of the fact is there's too much access to knowledge that is not just regional anymore. It's global. So we're having the same conversation, right? So yes, there is gender wars that is happening both the same in UK as in US, because the rhetorics that are online are being embedded into people's daily conversations as well. Now, I think AW put a good point here. She said, you know, in my younger days, I did a coffee shop. The guys didn't even offer to get me so much as a courtesy cup of water. Never again. Well, I think the beautiful thing about that is you now know he is not the man for you. Right? Beautiful. And you know, he's not the man for you. You're not the man for him. You know? So it's interesting. You know, it's interesting that you put that story, because I think, you know, that's a great indication of now being aware. Like, it's the little things. That's why I said it. That's why I said the little things. Once you realize that, now you know I don't have to be here. And a coffee date, you haven't wasted enough for him. You know, he's not attentive. He's not thinking about you. You know, he's not even you know, accommodating. You now know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll grab a coffee. I'm gonna grab you a coffee. You know what I mean? Oh, do you want a tissue? Like, oh, do you need to get this? Like, that's how I am, because I'm gonna be the same as I was anywhere else. You know, you know. So yes, absolutely. I appreciate you sharing that. Right. You know. So yeah. Tatiana said, so this notion that women are overbearing when it comes to the expectations for a date are, I think they can be. I think it's a bit of both. I mean, like I said, I meet really cool women. And when I'm cool with women, I you know, the kind of energy that I have, I'm really chill, and I'm all about conversation and the mind. So when I get on with somebody, they have a similar mindset. So the expectations are usually similar to mine. Do you know what I mean? We can go for expensive dinner if you need to, but I like to chill. I like to vibe. I like to do things that are going to get me to be in your presence. You know what I'm saying? Dinner dates are cool, but I don't really like them. I'm not a big fan of dinner dates because I feel like I'm trapped behind the table. I want something a little bit more active or something to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I like to spend time. Like last time I went go-karting. We vibed. Then we went to eat food. And I said to y'all, like, yo, as we vibed and we ate food, you know, I said we had a moment which was funny because our hands were sticky and we put our hands together. And I was like, did we just put our hands together and my hands are sticky? It was just funny, like, you know what I mean? So I like those kind of things. So it's all, so there are some things where people want to, you know, there are some parts where we where some people do have some crazy expectations, but a lot of times, you know, people do have sensible expectations. And that's what I said about meeting people that you actually like. It's important. You know what I mean? Yeah. Make sure that you like these people, because some of these people you don't like. You want them because they look a certain way, or you know, they fit into a certain aesthetic, but do they actually like you, and do you actually like them? Are you actually attracted to them? You know what I mean? Beyond just being them being a IG model face, or you know, he looked like a baller, like a gangster, whatever, right? You know, yeah.
That everyone's having, and the gender wars don't make no sense to me.
Yeah.
I love that you guys are not about that at all. It's like, because you guys how can the way that they talk about women, make no sense to me. How do you hate women?
How?
How? I don't get it, you know. And then some people's platform is literally to hate women or to hate men, which makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
You know, because obviously I'm gonna relate it to my wife. And I was like, no, we got so much in common, in common. That, whereas everyone wants to discuss the differences and you know, they do this, they're this, they're this. No, I don't see it. I don't see it. So
Wow. So talk to us, man, about your discipline, bro. All right, because
It's crazy.
Because we see the
It's so
optics,
crazy.
right?
Let me
We
go
look at
back
you,
a bit.
right? I've seen articles that say, man, this guy is the best physique. Like, he has the best body I've ever seen. You know what I mean? So
I want to go back to this.
I saw a picture of her. I was blown away. So I wasn't it? Is it what's this Twitter?
Just tweet it,
DM?
tweet
No, they
it
had
out.
DMs. They had DMs.
The
now.
DM?
At
Yeah.
that time.
No, Twitter always had DMs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Twitter always had
I
DMs.
sent her a DM, and yeah, we just started chatting. And then the funny thing is, I sent a picture of her to my guys, and I said, "Yo, if her personality matches how she looks, I'm out. I'm out." And that's I tell her this all the time. She just laughs. I said, "I'm out." And then we went on a first date. The funny thing is, even though I said that we've been together like 8-9 years, we've known each other for I think it's 11 because we went on a first date. In my opinion, went smooth. It was good. Like, it was a great date, but like we didn't hit it off after that. Damn. So that first date, all them years ago, we kept in contact after, and then eventually, like, and I always say that I think it was just timing. It's good timing because a couple years later we went on another first date, and then from then it was just you know, so it was just a timing thing. But yeah, like that's how we met. And one thing that me and Shan have always had is communication. Like even from the first date was one of the best dates. It's the best date I've ever been on. We sat. So basically, we went to. And I've got so many things I want to share.
I love you, excited.
Seriously. You see when because there's a lot of conversation about money.
Yeah.
You know, people spending money. How much should I spend on a date and all this stuff? Me and Shan laugh about it because the restaurant I took her to, the people in the UK will know. I took her to a restaurant called Giraffe. Now, Giraffe is like, what can I compare it to here in the US? It's just a chain, man. It's nothing crazy.
Yeah,
and the reason we went there was because it was just local to like this embankment where you could walk down the Thames.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm mentioning that is we didn't have to go spend all this crazy money that people keep talking about. It wasn't about that. So we ate, and then after we ate, we went for a walk, and then we sat on a bench and talked for maybe 2 hours. Best day ever. Like when you're really trying to connect with someone or see if someone, if you could build with someone, or if you can just get to if you have a connection, that's all that's really needed. It's not about.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Right there is exactly what I'm talking about. Brother said they went to dinner, had some dinner, then they sat on a bench and talked for 2 hours. That's the stuff I'm talking about. That's the stuff. Like it's not necessary for most people, I don't think, to be like sometimes I've been hearing some of these stories. I'm like, so you did X, Y, and Z. Oh, you went to this, you went to that. Okay, what's happened to the relationship? Oh. Elson said 2 hours ain't nothing. Exactly. 2 hours even short. Like I said, I've experienced being there talking 3-4 hours. Like if you've got the time, but I'm saying like you just want to engage in conversation, you know what I mean? Right? You want to engage in conversation, you know, like that's the main thing. Like that goes beyond everything. Like what's that person's mind, man? So if you can find yourself in a space where you get to talking, that's a beautiful place. Now, I'm not saying that obviously that's at every stage of your life that you're going to spend small amounts of money. No, I agree. Miss Ione, I agree. You know, you're absolutely right. You know, when you get older, of course, we're not asking for, you know, asking you just to stay, you know, at that level. What I'm saying is, you know, move appropriately according to your finances, number one. But number two, also, don't let the financial aspect be the leading thing. Let the fact that there's going to be the opportunity for connection be the lead. You know what I mean? You know, so let there be a lead. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is spend time. You know, spend time with that. There should be an excitement to spend time with that person. Yeah, there should be an excitement to spend time. Even if you're older, there should be an excitement to want to spend time with that person. You get what I'm saying to you? Like, it's not about the glitz and the glamour. I'm saying, like, it's about the connection. Does that person connect with you? You know what I mean? Like, those are things, that we can. And I'm not even saying like even. I'm saying like the first few days, just get to know each other. You don't even know who the person is. The person crazy. Get to know the person. You know what I mean? Get to know the person. Nah, I probably won't be doing seven. Probably won't be doing seven paint at anybody's house if you don't really know them either. So, I won't probably be doing that either. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, like, focus on that connection part. Focus on that connection part. Get to know that person. How do you feel speaking to that person in person? You know what I mean? How do you feel being in person? So, like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and again, he highlighted it perfectly when he said that, right? And I said I've heard a few other couples say the same thing. Like, when they started, it's this. You know what I mean? Connect. Focus on that connection. Did you connect? Love that point, Andre. Love that point. Did you connect? Now, one thing I want to say that I loved about them, I don't want to go too deep in it because I've done some other videos around this particular subject already, is they were talking about some real things, man. I think it's here. Oh, this one part of it. Let me see this part.
So,
let me ask you this though.
Yeah.
How what type of impact does being with a woman, right? In your case, being married, play into your success?
Oh, wow. A lot, man. I mean, the like my decision making is I'll go to Shan and I'll be like, what do you think about this? All the time. So like we have to be on the same page, and vice versa. You have to lean on each other. It's beautiful. In terms of success, like I started out on my own, but once you become a team, it's fantastic, man. It's fantastic, and you realize you're building to something bigger than just you. It even probably makes you work even harder because now you're building for a family rather than just your own pleasures. You're like the house that I live in now, I would not live in on my own. Like, what am I doing on my own in that house? But because I got a family, it's like, yes, this is for us, So I think it plays a huge role.
It seems like it's a different level of. It just kind of fosters a different level of work ethic.
Oh, big time. Big time.
And reason and a purpose and why.
Definitely.
We talk about.
I love that as well because the impact of having someone great in your corner is important. You know what I mean? The importance of having someone who you can connect with and you can actually just be able to vibe with is important. But as a partner, as a marriage partner, that's quintessential, right? Because there's that allows you to be able to grow. That gives you a safety. That gives you somewhere. You can even begin to feel like you have somebody in your corner who roots for you as much as you're rooting for yourself. And that again is by choosing the right type of partner. And that again begins by when you start dating. What is it that you know about this person? What is it? What's the knowledge that we have of this person? The Bible says, dwell with women according to knowledge. Okay. All right. 12 women according to knowledge. That's what I would say. I definitely hear what you Haitian's saying. Yeah. I don't want it to sound like obviously if you're spending so much money, you're not thinking. I wanted to more talk to the fellas out there and say, hey, look, are you doing this as a motivation to try and impress, or are you doing this because you're trying to connect? There's a big difference for us specifically for as men, and that's why I'm trying to understand. That's why I'm trying to make it very, very clear for them. So no, by all means, go to a crafted day. Of course, that man can spend money. We're not saying that at all. What we're saying is, but is your motivation when you're doing all this big spending, is it to connect or is it to impress and try to prove something? Because if it's that, then you're in the wrong space. You need to be in a space where you want to connect. You get what I'm saying to you? That's why I said it's easier to start off with a coffee date, because at that point, there's nothing glamorous about it. And it's not meant to be glamorous. It's meant to be stripped back. Let's enjoy each other's presence. Let's see what it is. But that doesn't mean you have to. That doesn't mean you have to do that as well. That doesn't mean you have to do that as well. And so for me personally, I said, look. If you're just starting to know each other, like cool, like just strip it back, get to basics. Get back to basics. Let's strip it back. Let's get back to basics. Let's get to the point to where we're now trying to. This is me. You know what I mean? This is who I am. You get what I'm saying to you? Whenever I try to impress, whenever I'm in the space of trying to impress a girl, I realize that for me, I'm in the wrong space. Do you get what I'm saying to you? When I'm in a space where I'm trying to impress you, I'm in the wrong space. No, I want to get to know you. I'm fascinated by you, or I'm intrigued by you, and I'm interested, and I'm attracted to want to know more about you. And vice versa. I want you to know more about me. I'm not trying to impress you. Like, like when I find myself in that space, I'm like, this probably isn't the person for you because you're trying to impress that person. Stop. You don't need to be in that space. Why are you trying to impress that person? You feel like you have something to prove. I'm already in deficit. I'm already insecure about it. That's what I'm trying to prove to you. I can't be comfortable. No, me is me. You know what I mean? Right? So when I meet somebody, I'm like, hey, like, how you doing? You're right. I just start talking. And if it's I just having a conversation, you know what I mean? I'm just like, all right, let's have a conversation. Let's talk. Like, all right. Boom. I know that I'm cool. I can talk freely. I'm not thinking about let me try and walk in a certain. And let me tell you something. Sometimes you can do it. Sometimes you can do it. You're even checking the way you walk. I've even put on a few more decibels onto my voice. What are you saying? You good? All right. Yeah. I hear you. No, I like what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. I hear that still. You know what I mean? Like I'm doing too much. Like when I start doing that. But me, if I can be me, I'm gonna give you energy. Like, yo, this is me, Like, I like this, I like that. Yeah. That's also true as well, Angel. That's also very true. A guy invited me to a very darn regular activity. I reluctantly agreed as it was not my cup of tea. When I arrived, he immediately requested a change of venue. Thoughts? Can I be honest with you? Thoughts? Even the way you've described it, I hope that energy didn't show up in the date. Even the way you described it, I hope that energy did not show up in the date. My girl, you said very darn regular activity. I hope that didn't show up in the date, because that will show up potentially to a man that nothing's going to be good enough. You know what I mean? It could come across like that. I'm not saying it did, I'm saying it could. But he said, I reluctantly agreed as it was not my cup of tea. When I arrived, he immediately requested a change of venue. Thoughts? Well, if he truly believes that he wants to change, if he truly believes that he wants to change, he's the one that changed it, right? He's the one that changed it, right? So if he wanted to change it, then hey, if he wanted to change it and you believe that that was his choice, he wasn't influenced by your energy. You know what I mean? If you believe he wasn't influenced by your energy to now change the venue, you tell me. I don't know. You tell me. Was he influenced by your energy? Or did he want to change it because he felt like he had to change it? Why did he change it? Did he tell you why he's changing it? Did he tell you why? I opened the door and barely said hello. He said we can go elsewhere, you know. Wait, why did he open? Wait, what happened? Wait, the story's not. Hey. Tell the story, babe. What is going on? Now, if you listen, I'm even going to open up the floor. If you got questions, I want to hear them, but I want to hear them by audio because the way you lot are typing is long. Because this story sounds like it could be a wild one. Yeah, let me put a link in because obviously I want to hear this story because clearly we're in something. I want to hear what the story is. Haitian Impress. I want to hear the story. Talk to me because science now is not. Something's not adding up. He then invited me to his company office event. Okay. Hmm. I'm trying to understand what's going on. Haitian Empress, we need to hear the story in full because it's not making sense for me. Could be C Jojo, that could be it. She might have been overdressed, that's fair. He might have noticed she might have a particular look. He might be like, oh, this is not gonna work here. We need a bit more information. That's fine. We don't need camera. We don't need a camera. If you got any questions as well, guys, this will be a great time. You can click on the link to come and ask your questions as well. I would love to hear your questions today. Um, you know, you can ask me your questions, anything you want to ask. Um, we'll discuss it. Cause this dating thing, yeah, it sounds a bit iffy to me, baby. Let's have a look. All right, cool. Let me pin it. Samba Boule. Mm. Could be. That could also be it. That's very true. You could agree to cheat date, then switch it more so just to test her. It could be. Some men do that. I don't advise any man to do that. Please don't do that. It's some bull crap. Please don't. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why any man is doing that. Like Ochachinko did it with his wife. It's like you don't need to. It means you haven't got very good vetting skills. Don't do that, man. Don't test somebody. Like, you shouldn't have to test them. Like, if you invited that person to a restaurant and you want it because you want to go in there, don't invite somebody to change it if that's a test. I think that's an indication that person's going to be manipulative later on in the relationship. You should run. You know what I mean? You should run. So if you have any questions, guys, you have any dating questions, by all means, come and ask your questions. We don't need a camera on, so you're good. Okay, we want to hear your questions. All right, so if you've got a question, we want to hear it. We want to hear it. Okay. Samba Boule. Samba Boula. Okay. Okay. So we want to hear your questions, guys. So let's ask these questions. Go on, click on that link, and let's see what we can get going, guys. All right. I don't know why people play these mind games when it comes to dating. That is mad. Makes no sense at all. I wouldn't want to do that. Now, Aquarius 87, how are you going to ask a question and put it in the chat? We need you to click on that link and ask your question. You don't need a camera. Just come and ask your question because it's easier. Because then you can actually talk about, I can do back and forth with you. But the questions are limited. They're going to be limited, so I can only give limited answers. So if you got a question, please answer. Please click on the link. You don't have to do cam up. We'd love to hear your voice. Okay. So we know. So we just want to be able to, because it makes it easier. We need to block Kaylee too, and she's been doing trolling on this channel for too long. We need to block her. You know what I mean? Aquarius 87, I'm gonna need some more information on that. Aquarius 87, we request your presence. Click on the link. Come ask your question, because that I without much more details, like I can't answer that question. I can't answer that question. Samuel said he might have to ask the question. Come and ask the question, Samuel. This would be a good time to get some questions in, all right? Samba Boule. Good, sis.
Hey,
How you doing, sis? You right?
so I put the question in there where I was saying there was this guy I was talking to before my recent ex. We broke up about February because he just wasn't doing right. I mean, he was getting in trouble in and out of jail. I can't deal with that person. We in our mid-30s. I can't deal with the in and out of jail and all that stuff. So I broke up with him. I've been broken up with him since February. So the guy I told you that I was talking to before, we got good communication. We get along well. There was no problems except that lie that he was already in a relationship. So since we're both single now, I'm wondering, would that be smart to give it a try or just don't even get into that?
Hold on, my brain is trying to compute what was being said. Who's in and out of jail? That person was the person.
Was the ex that I recently just been done with. So after I found out he was in a relationship, the first guy, then I got with the new guy, but that guy, he just stayed in and out of jail and I just couldn't stand it. So I broke up with him in February.
Hold on. Okay. Hold on. My brain is, I don't know why my brain can't hear it. I'm hearing you, but I'm not hearing you. So the guy that you were with previously, before you broke up in February, he was one that was in and out of jail. But the other guy,
good guy.
you've known him.
Yeah, I've known him for like 5 years.
5 years. Okay. Okay. So you've known him for 5 years and he's what, come back now?
Yeah, like he just like at first when me and him were talking, I got disappointed because I found out, you know, like through the grapevine where the girlfriend gets a hold of me, like, hey, like he's talking to me. Well, he never told me that he's in a relationship. Didn't know much about you. The fact that he comes home from work and he's not with you, but he comes to see me for these past 2 months. Well, I thought that he was single. So I just kind of left it as what it was. There was no argument or nothing between me and the first guy's, you know, I mean, girlfriend, the one that, you know, I said that he was in a relationship and that kind of disappointed me. And then I moved on and went to the new ex, the one that went to jail. So that's why I was saying, like, now that we're both single, me and the first guy, should I give this a chance?
Okay. Okay. So what's his character like? This new guy,
So,
not new guy, but the guy's 5 years. What's his character like?
like, he used to be in the military, but he's retired now for being in his 30s. He's a hard worker. Like every day, if you wanted to see if he was at his job, you're probably going to see him, you know what I mean? Because he's a manager. So he's always there, you know what I mean? Helping out everybody. He's very charismatic. Good with talking, but he's cool, calm, collected. He's not the type that just wants to be seen or nothing. But when he's got to get in the line of work to help people out or whatever, he'll do it. And even when we were just friends, he's definitely that type of guy that like will help out. You know what I mean? Generous. We can talk about anything. We're open with each other about anything, like, you know, stuff that we don't even tell anybody else.
Question: can you trust him? Can you trust him after what's happened last time? Truly,
I know,
100%.
and that's where I'm at right now. I feel like I can give a person a chance, a benefit of the doubt. Like if it doesn't turn out good, then I mean, of course we all have to, you know, keep moving, keep trucking. But the whole aspect of that he lied from the beginning, it's like,
him 100% right now, Aquarius. Right now, can you trust him 100%?
I can.
You can trust him 100%. That
Yeah.
if he comes to you now, that he's not going to be no relationship, no other woman.
Yes, because I'm just a free person like that. I'll give the benefit of the doubt. I'll try.
Why would you give the benefit of the doubt?
I mean, I'm just saying I will try to see, you know, I will give the 100%, like that I trust you. But if you show me something different, then that's where things change.
Okay, so help me out. Just quickly, let's leave that guy for a little bit. Just I need to understand something. This gentleman beforehand that you broke up in February with, he was in and out of jail. Was he in and out of jail before you started dating, or is this new?
It was all new because it all dealt with me. I had to get protection orders against him. So he had violation of protection orders from stalking, trying to control, just hopping by my house, messing with my locks, like crazy stuff. And then he also had a drinking problem, so he got a DUI.
Okay, and this all happened in the space of the relationship.
Yes, in the middle of the relationship, it happened. So we did 3 years together. This all happened like in the 2 year going into the 3 year part. And there was a guilty conscience with the past ex as well because his baby mother was in the picture. And he was a little bit older than me. I'm 37. He was 46.
Okay.
So he had past baggage that came back in the middle of our relationship and couldn't make up his mind. And just, I don't know, the guilt, I guess, of him doing stuff behind my back, like he would project that back at me.
Okay, so just give me a bit of a background here. Okay, so that gentleman obviously you broke up with February, been in for 3 years. Relationships before this, has there been a similar pattern to this relationship here?
Not where I have to get a protection order or anything, but there has been where guys have had their past baby mothers, you know, in the picture. So that's always been something where I have to like fight with the other woman, not physically fighting, but just like, hey, why are you hitting up his phone at this time of the night? We're sleeping. Or, you know what I mean, just interference in that type of way. Or they might send a picture of, I don't know, a nude picture just out of nowhere. Like, what is this? So.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you trust your judgment for picking the right man?
I think now I would be better because I know I can just opt out and get out quickly if it's not the right choice. How about that? So I'm going to say I'm like a half and halfer. Like I can't say that I'm perfect because it's hard to read people to me, like especially how people are nowadays of having to put up a facade, a mask. But I would say that if it doesn't seem right off of the past relationships and lessons and things that I know that I've learned and the healing that I've went through, then I know I can jump out quicker than what I did in the past of trying to hold loyalty down and, oh, I'm gonna stick through thick and thin. I'm not doing that no more. Like, but if I see that a person is actually putting in effort, and there might be a couple of mistakes that come in, and we're not talking about, oh, he cheated, I'm gonna give him a chance back. No, not that type of mistake, but just let's say it was a communication error or something. I'm not just gonna break up off of that though. So.
Okay. So you okay? So okay. So obviously, without going too deep, because obviously I would need the whole history background. Okay, and maybe you might have to book a coaching course for that one. But okay. So here's my thing. From what I've heard, and I'm gonna give my limited information I've heard, right? And I'm gonna go with my intuition a little bit here. Sis, don't spin the block, because what I'm hearing, number one, I'm not even concerned about him. I'm concerned about you, because what I'm hearing, I'm not sure if the judgment is on point. So if you're telling me the story about this guy who first foremost was doing what he was doing beforehand, has come back now, if I'm just on a limited information, of course, if we have more time to talk, maybe I would able to get more understanding. But the limited thing that I've heard, I'm a little bit scared, because I feel like, sis, I might need you to sit on the bench
Mm-hmm.
and heal, because these men, they're gonna always be those type of men. But for you to be able to trust your judgment 100%, it requires you also to see absolutely perfectly well. And I'm not sure, just based on what I'm hearing, if the eyesight is perfectly well. But that's on my limited information.
I understand. But
So I
so
would
do you
advise
think
you.
that anybody can be 100% sure of people? And look at people who are like in their 50s, 60s, who got married to a guy, let's say 30 years ago, and they're going through a divorce right now. Like, did they ever
Absolutely.
see that coming up?
Listen, there are going to be a lot of relationships where people don't see something coming, which is unfortunately life, right? But you want to put yourself in the best position possible. You want to put yourself in the best position possible. I mean, one question I haven't even asked you is: have you even taken time to really to decompress after the situation with the last ex-boyfriend? I know it's February and we're in August, and it's like 6 months. I mean, but have you decompressed? Have you been able to process what's actually happened? Guy's gone to jail. Man's also been stalking you, doing what X, Y, and Z. Have you had time to actually process what has just happened? Your life was in danger.
Well, I've been
Like,
doing counseling, and I've been
okay,
doing PTSD, like trauma breakdown. It's a book that I've been going through for the past like 5 months now, I would say,
okay,
like 5, 6 months. So there has been, like, when we first started out, for the first 3 months, I mean, it was a little jarring because I had to go all the way back to my childhood uh, traumas, and then I had to go through what I went through in college. And then now we finally are on the lessons of the relationship that's current and the type of guys you don't want to look for later on in the future, because the pattern is set because of what I went through my childhood, basically. So, I mean, I feel like with already doing classes from a year, 2 years ago with PTSD, from traumatic stuff that happened within the family, whatever, that with me having a better knowledge and actually putting in the work and actually doing, not exactly, I'm not a meditator per se. I do get in my quiet space and I do my prayers to God. So I'm not trying to go on this other realm or nothing. I'm just literally putting out there, how I really feel, what I need to work on for the week, how I'm not going to stress. I'm going to be in my present moment and work on what's here right now. As long as I'm truthful to myself, everything around me should be where it's truth coming. You know what I mean? Like, it's there in my face. You know what I mean? Because I didn't give any other type of, I don't know, I didn't give any other type of ill intention. So I feel like that ill intention shouldn't be brought back. And that's just how I'm just going to keep it, for positive affirmations of how I see things. But that's why I said I trust myself fully of how things are going forward. And when it comes to relationships, no, I'm not the person that goes out. I'm literally go to work. I'm a homebody. I take care of my children. And you know what I mean? Like, back at it again. Weekends, yeah, I might take them. We go out. We'll go to the trail. We'll go to the lake. We'll go have some fun. But I'm more of a homebody. I don't go out. I don't just be out looking for new, who's the next guy to get with or something. It was just a question because, like I said, I don't know if I'm moving too fast, but from what you're saying to me is maybe take time to just look into everything before making this even something that could even be a relationship. It's okay to have a friendship. So, but don't rush it. Yeah.
My last question is, okay, are you somebody who gets into relationships a lot? So is there
Nope.
much time that you have being single?
Yes. So I would say from this past relationship with the ex who was, abusive, crazy, whatever. Then before that, I was in more long term, like 5 years, 3 years, 7 years. That was back like high school time, but so I don't really count that because it was kind of like a puppy love. That wasn't. We both weren't mature, but yeah, usually long relationships, and then after that, I was single on my own because I was running track, for college or busy, like working power plants. I'm working 12-hour shifts 6 days a week. I was doing decontamination. So I was traveling. So I was making money. And then, in between time, even when I had my kids, like I was single and I went like a whole 3-4 years until I started dating with what my kids' ages are. And then this is what has happened now. So.
I think my final thing just to say is that I think personally, just by what you told me, I'd say continue on the journey that you're on. I think you're making great progress probably as well. And I would say that only you really know. But I'll give this advice as a general precaution. Don't sabotage the great healing you're doing. If you're doing great healing, focus on the healing. You know what I mean? Because sometimes we're on a journey of healing and people get sent our way to see if we're really learning and we're really actually learning. So I'm not saying that he is that person who's sent to kind of test it. I'm just saying that be aware of that people get sent our way sometimes to see are we really learning along this journey. And I don't want you to sabotage and exit early the process getting into a relationship, because what relationships do is they add more pressure to those wounds. So if we're not yet ready as such to step into high pressured scenarios, we might want to just stay where we are and just focus on our healing and focus on ourselves and building ourselves up, so that when you now look out into the world, you're not having to think, am I making the right choice? You can just trust it. A bit like when you get injured. I've got ACL, did my knee. Sometimes when I step, I'm not 100% sure because I know it can potentially might give way. When you're fully healed, though, you don't think about that because you know that you're fully healed. When I say fully healed, no one's ever fully healed. But what I mean is you get to a place where you're confident in your healing, that now you can actually vet without it being an issue. You have good boundaries, you have good standards, you're able to assert yourself and say what you want, say what you like, what you don't like. You're able to let the person know, this is what I see for my future, and whether somebody actually fits into that narrative as well. So that would be my last thing for you. That's what I'd say.
Yeah. So like I said, I feel that I do better single because I have came a long way. Like during COVID, I graduated. I have furthered my career with the state, and so I work for the Department of Health and Human Services. I do all the death certificates and the autopsy reports and stuff. I'll be moving myself on up and trying to, I'm trying to change states, go to Texas, go down by San Antonio. So I do have big things that I'm trying to do, but I guess the biggest thing is it's like I got everything else going on, a house, the car, the blah, blah, blah. Like, it'd be nice just to go back to date. But if I got to wait, then I have no problem waiting. So.
That's okay. That's okay. And the question as well, did that lie that he told about his girlfriend at the time, did he explain why he lied?
He acts like they were just separated at the time. So he felt like she was out doing endeavors. He was going to go out and do an endeavor.
And so he brought you into his lie, in a sense.
Yeah. So that's why I was disappointed, because she was the one who called me up, but she didn't come hostile or rude or nothing. She just
called you up. The girl called you up.
Yeah, she called me up because she seen my phone number come up continuously on his phone, where it was like a phone number he called all the time. She saw the text messages on Messenger, which was nothing like sexual or nothing, but just the hey baby, the stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, sis, get the running.
Get the
running.
Yeah.
I need you to do what you do best, which is track, and I need you to run. Okay? Put them spikes on and get the running.
Right.
Leave them in the dust. Okay?
Yep.
Thank you very much. Okay? I appreciate you, baby. Shout me if you need me, though. You can always email me.
All right. Bye.
Bye, babe. Appreciate you. All right, cool. Samuel, talk to me. You got a question, bro?
Bro, right
Roasted.
now, dating has drained the life out of me. On a serious note, I'm actually not actively looking now. I'm not dating. I've taken myself out, and I just said, you know what, this ain't for me anymore.
That's fair.
Maybe later on down the line, but this ain't for me anymore. I've actually had the conversation with this was a couple of weeks ago with some of my boys, and we asked this question to ourselves, and we said what we were saying is that in today's day and age, it is so stated of what the man should do in the dating stage, what he should provide, what is the standard and stuff like that. But there's a blurred line with what the women should be doing. So I wanted to ask you, first of all, what should the women be doing in the dating stage?
Ooh, how was man gonna call me on this question, boy? What should a woman be doing in the dating stage?
In the dating stage,
as in actively, if they're actively dating, or
If
as
they're
in
actively
preparing for dating.
So let me give you a little bit more context.
Yeah.
I ran into a lot more women, let's just say this, where obviously now I'm being intentional. I'm the one that's I'm taking them out on dates, paying for the dates, stuff like that. I'm trying to impress them with the way that I am and stuff like that. And they're coming off very bland, very boring, but I know that's not them, if you get what I'm saying. So they're not really showing their true self.
Okay.
But when I approach them about that and I speak to them about it, and this wasn't one or two, this was actually a couple, and then this is why the conversation came about with my friendship group, because of the fact that the other guys were hearing this as well, was that, oh, in this dating stage, I shouldn't be doing anything or showing you anything until you put a ring on my finger. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's kind of like we need to give them everything before we marry them, and obviously continue when we marry them. But they should be holding back until we go and marry them. So my question is that how much should they be giving as well in the dating stage? Because we need to also know in the vetting period what they're like, what are like, especially when we're talking about attendees, because and this was what was annoying me, that there was a lot of women that were holding back, and I'm thinking, why are you holding back? But then the same excuse was coming up again, and I was thinking, am I moving mad? Should that be or should that not be? Do you get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. Okay, so in terms of dating, I think the best possible way you can show up is having a balance between understanding how to be vulnerable, yet at the same time being able to guard your heart, right? Because the Bible tells us guard your heart. The difficulty behind this is that what you're describing there sounds like, to me, that the women that you're encountering are struggling to find a balance. So what they're doing is a fail-safe, which is, I'm just going to hold back everything. You know, I can't put myself out too much because I might get hurt, right? But what you're asking for in this instance is a balance from the ladies. You want a balance in terms of being able to be vulnerable, be vibrant, bring their personality to the table, be open, you know, talk about life, talk about themselves, what they do, etc., their interests, etc., 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 etc. But at the same time, being able to still guard their heart, be smart about how they do it. So not rushing in head first, but also as well not being too much in their own head, right? It's about finding that good balance. And when you learn how to be when you learn that vulnerability is both the best attack and defense, and you become comfortable with being vulnerable, you learn how to be able to have that balance. The question I'm asking is, why them keep meeting gal that are boring? And two, why do you keep meeting these girls that are not finding the balance? Are you not balanced?
This is the thing that I had to ask myself, because I'm clearly attracting something that is is just this might not be right with me. Now, I looked at it with myself, and I said to myself, I can't really pinpoint it right now.
That's fair.
But I did say that I'm gonna take myself out and actually just evaluate myself, and maybe later on down the line, and I'll go back in again. But I feel like the social media has ruined a lot of people's mentalities, especially when it comes into the dating scene. There has been a lot of, and this is for younger women, this is for older women as well, which is quite surprising. I remember I was on a date with a woman that was about 4 years older than me. Very well. She has a very good career, very well mannered and stuff, something like that. But it was kind of like the whole, again, until you put a ring on my finger, or until we were dating exclusively, I'm gonna be holding back. And I was thinking to myself, is it me that is saying to her, are you not gonna impress me with something? Are you not going to like show me why I should keep on chasing you? Do you get what I'm saying? It's more of like, no, you're the one that's supposed to provide with this. You provide the financial stability, be a traditional guy with the household and everything. And it's kind of like, okay, that's fine. I will do that. But what are you supposed to be doing? And then there's not really any answer to that. It's just until we're married, you will see. Do you get what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to see until I'm married, because if I marry a witch, no, it's gonna be problems now.
Okay. So let me ask you this. How comfortable are you in terms of being vulnerable and sharing your emotions with these ladies?
So before, I admitted that I wasn't very comfortable. I was a very closed off guy because of past experiences. However, I identified that, and I started to become a lot more open to my experiences and being vulnerable, just to see if that will be reciprocated back towards me as well.
Okay. So since you've taken on that journey, what's happened?
Well, since actually taking on that journey, what I've realized is that I found out more about myself. And this is where I kind of slightly now walked away from the dating scene now. Funny enough, I've slightly walked away from it. But met a few women that were, how would I put it? Because it's gonna sound mad. They've had their experiences. They've had the experiences in their lives, and they've built up a brick wall. And I've said to myself, why am I always meeting women that they don't have a father, or they have something with a problem with their mum, or like they've had a very mad sexual traumatic, and sorry if this triggers anybody. Before, and it's like, where am I finding these people from? Because I can't seem to pinpoint it. Do you get what I'm saying? And the thing is, I haven't had those experiences myself. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, where am I picking this up from?
Okay, but so relationship with your mom and dad, how is that? Has it always been smooth?
My relationship with my mom and dad has been, I'll say, quite smooth. It's more of like the strict African household parent, but they're not as strict. I can have conversations with my mom and dad, and it is quite smooth.
Okay, cool. All right. So then, so these women, obviously, that you said you keep meeting a certain type of woman where they got a guard up, they've gone through something. Usually, maybe dad isn't in the picture, or whatever, right? And you keep meeting this type of women. Was that correct? That your description?
Yeah, sorry, no, I just saw a comment, and maybe that is true. I'm not gonna lie. The comment was, "Are you trying to be a savior?"
I mean, I was gonna say that, but I don't want to get there yet. I mean, you got your cape on. It sounds like, but go on.
Yeah, I have thought about that before, and I'm a guy that always likes to help people. I'm a guy that always, because I'm a Christian, and I get joy in helping people. And I haven't. It's not that it's always I've met these kind of women. It's just this more. It's just most of them. It's just the majority of the women I've met are these kind of men with traumatic experiences. I would say that it's more of like I do get a feeling of I need to help them, but I need to remember I'm not God.
Okay, so the question I'm asking then is, what couldn't you save when you were younger?
Say again.
The question I'm asking is then, if you're trying to save people now,
Yeah.
what could you not save when you were younger? What was out of your control that you tried to save?
What was out of my control that I tried to save? That's a good question. I'll need to think about that a little bit more. What was out of my control?
I think if you figure that out, I think you'll have your answer to your actual issue, because the reason why, if you're trying to save people now, it's because something was out of your reach that you couldn't save when you were younger. Whether that's you, it could be you, it could be your parents, it could be friends, it could be family. Something was happening, something that happened that you couldn't save. That's why you try to save now. Well, we try to change narratives when we get older, right? So when you feel powerless, you tend to try and find ways to be powerful. So that power now, if we're talking about dealing with women who have guards up, who are, you know, emotionally maybe may not be as available, etc., etc., it's because we are. These are women are going to always come, right? But if we're attracting them quite a bit, it's because some part of us likes that aspect of the women. And especially if they're emotionally unavailable, the reality is we are emotionally unavailable, right? If they have walls up, more than likely you got walls up. Or you like trying to climb those walls because it validates you when you actually save them, or when you turn them around, or when they start to trust you. But that would mean that something in the childhood is what's contributing towards what is happening right now. And clearly the same thing is what unites your friendship too, because your boys are having the same kind of similar issues.
Yeah.
So what unites you guys, you may have similar issues when you were younger, and it might not necessarily play out the exact same way, but it's clearly something that unites you both because you're seeing the same type of women. So that's quite interesting. But I would say, listen, reflect on it, just have a little bit of time with it. I bet you there's something that you were trying to save that you couldn't save, and now you're trying to save those people. And usually, like I said, it normally comes with parents, that something happened and you're trying to save, or a sibling, something was outside of your grasp. You understand? So if you can figure that out, you're going to find the answer to that issue, and you'll realize that actually you're just repeating the cycle. So your brain is trying to change what it had in the past. Like, oh, we saw that in the past, but we have now the power to change it. In reality, all you're doing actually is repeating a cycle, because we don't need to be in the cycle at all. You get it? We don't need to be in the cycle at all. So yeah, I mean, when go for it. Yeah, go for it.
No, I was gonna say I'm definitely taking steps to towards it in a sense. Like, as I said, I'm taking myself out. And again, it's a good help, because this is what I wanted, like a conversation just to see any other perceptions that I'm not looking at, that I haven't seen before. And again, the question that you asked me was very thought provoking. But again, it's kind of like, for me now, I'm thinking to myself, I've always you're in this space sometimes, and this is why I always say to women and to men, when you're in the space and things are not working out for you, the easiest thing is to blame the other gender, or the other party at hand. And what I didn't want to do was completely blame, because fair enough, their walls are up, and it's kind of like, why would you accept to go on dates with me if you know you're not gonna. Do you get what I'm saying? But for me personally, it was like, is there something, I want to say wrong with me, but is there something that I need to work on or that I need to unlearn to actually what's it called, get better and actually attract what I want to attract instead of what's actually there that I'm attracting that I don't really and truly want to attract. And I think the first steps was actually taking actually myself out and actually focusing on myself.
No, listen, and look, I mean, that's something that's very close to me as well. When I talk about saving women and women that have high walls, you know, I loved it when, especially, and like I said, I'm still healing even to today, but I loved that aspect. My first ever girlfriend, like she was a bit more emotionally colder. I love the fact that I was a bit more emotionally warm. So that gave me a feeling of feeling special and feeling unique, and also feeling like a sense of importance, because I knew I had something that she didn't have. You know what I'm saying to you? So when I started realizing I'm starting to date similar women, or I get attracted to certain women, like women that weren't necessarily emotionally always like there, and it's because I personally didn't have a good relationship with my own emotions. I was somebody who was repressed in the expression of my emotions. I wasn't able to acknowledge them when I was younger. So I start to find myself attracted to people who also too have been repressed and restricted in their emotional expression. But then when I'm attracted to them, I'm finding myself in relationships with them. I end up playing a counselor or whatever, playing this great good guy, and all it is that I want to feel special in that person's life, because I felt like I was invisible when I was in my parents' house. So because I wasn't able to express emotionally, I felt like I was invisible. And so when I begin to save these women, I feel like I'm becoming visible again. You know what I'm saying to you? Like I'm being seen now. Like, oh, you're doing this, this, and this. And it's a sense of validation, a sense of praise that comes from doing this thing for them. Like, I'm now special. I'm now important to them. When I felt those things that I was not important, I wasn't special, I wasn't anything unique when I was younger. And it doesn't mean my parents want to see a bad parenting. It's just that emotional connection I didn't have. That's how the feelings I was feeling at those points in time.
No, that's fair, to be fair. I'm sorry, I just saw one comment that said that you're the one that's asking them out. You're attracted to them. And there's part that is true, but they have to say yes to me casting them out. So clearly they're also attracted to me as well. So they could easily say no, just to decline. But yeah, no, what you're saying is very true. And to be fair, I do need to take a deeper dive into what it is, because I was quite confused about this whole like topic, and it was kind of like as I said before, I haven't had the traumatic experiences. I had quite a good upbringing as well, and I was like, where is this coming from? And maybe a point just came up in my mind that you've just opened up, where I feel like it might have come from this. I was bullied in primary school. I was also, sorry, when I talk about traumatic experience, I'm talking about in the home, not actually out in school and stuff like that. So I was bullied in primary school, and I wasn't let's just say the most popular in secondary school. I didn't really actually have a good time in from primary school to secondary school. I guess a lot of in school, it's more about the more skills that you can get and stuff like that. I'm following on from the question of what you were trying to save. I think it's the element of trying to look good for my self-validation and what other people think of me. And this is what I've just thought of this now. Literally just thought of this now. So yeah, I might need to go and look into that a little bit deeper and just try and learn certain things from those experiences.
That's deep, bro. You know, that's a very deep thing. And I think you've hit the nail on the head a little bit there. You know, I think that you, and like I said, that's saving somebody. Sometimes it's you that you're saving. You're saving the little you, the little Samuel. You know what I mean? And you see that little Samuel in the women. You see how they're unprotected and they weren't covered. So your natural inclination is to cover those women, right? So you're not even seeing it as I'm trying to save them. You're just seeing it as I want to cover them because little Samuel also was uncovered. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, he also too didn't have somebody that would have covered him at that point in time. And if he did, I might not have gone through what I went through. So in some sense, how your brain is also kind of thinking about it, how your subconscious is running underneath, is also saying, when you see a similar person go through a similar thing, or they tell your story about, hey, you know what? I've come from a place where I wasn't protected, or that's how your brain is thinking about it. It literally goes, oh, they were also uncovered. You know what? I'm leaning towards you because now I can see that you've gone through something similar. I can also trust you because actually then you understand my pain. And actually, this is actually probably even a safe place for you because if you understand my pain, I could probably tell you my pain, and you ain't gonna laugh, you ain't gonna disrespect me, you ain't gonna see me in a bad light. You're not gonna belittle me or anything like that because you also understand where I'm coming from. It actually becomes a place of safety in a sense, which is what people call bonding over your traumas in some sense. But I can now see that little bit. If you've explained that little bit of the bullying, that is a real aspect too. And the key part, I think you mentioned also too, which within that as well, is when you said, oh, you know, you weren't necessarily the most popular person. Two, sometimes outliers look for other people that are outliers. You know what I mean? Like you see me and I see you. You're an outlier. I like the fact that you're on the edge. I'm on the edge too. And maybe that's why. And maybe what you're having right now is kind of almost like, I don't want to say out of body experience, but your program is beginning to change, and you're starting to witness the women. You're like, oh, those women are now becoming a mirror to you that, oh, I don't like what I see there. I don't like that. But you're now realizing that it's holding a mirror up to yourself. Like, oh, okay. Yeah. As I'm beginning to grow a little bit, I'm like, oh, that's not what I like. I don't like that anymore. You know what I mean?
No, definitely get that. Yeah. No, thanks for that, Kojo. Can't see that. Definitely got what the question that I wanted to ask. Definitely got full circle around.
I appreciate it, bro. If you need any coaching, shout me, bro. It ain't free, but shout me.
No, that's all right. It's all good. It's all good. All right.
You know what I mean? I appreciate my dog. All righty. Thank you. Oh, wrong person. Sorry, Kayan. Hold on. Wrong person. Haitian Empress first. Go for it, Haitian Empress.
Well, you wanted to know about the story you were saying.
We want to hear the story.
Yeah. But the thing is that the mood has changed so dramatically with the stories that have been shared. So
don't worry about that.
Don't worry about that? Okay.
Oh, we don't worry about that. We want to hear the story.
All right. So basically, met this guy. It was an online connection, and we talked, we exchanged and everything. He decided that, okay, it was time to meet, and he decided to set up a place. I was not particularly excited about the spot he had selected. It was one of those places where you can have, like, it's mixed areas where you can have play and drinks and things of that nature and food. Okay, so it's pretty casual, and it was a work day. So I said to myself, no, I'm not particularly excited, but let me try, let me go, whatever. I said, so time to meet, I leave work. I said it's not something particularly special. I'm dressed appropriately for the occasion. I present, and when I arrive, he's waiting for me in the vestibule. I open the door. I say hello. He says, are you Chantal? I said, yes. He said, we can go somewhere else if you want. So you thought there was more to it because people in the chat were saying, what did your face look like? When I go to meet somebody, when I've kind of resigned myself to where I'm going to go, I let it go and I will present, because I don't want to, even though I make jokes like all the time, I'm not there to mistreat somebody. I'm just going to have a nice time and a nice moment. It's the same way when I was talking about, I went on a date with somebody and he decided to bring his toddler. You know, one of your coffee dates that you like to talk about, your advocacy for coffee dates, that's what it
Listen,
resulted.
leave it slacking.
So that's what it resorted.
These men have no shame. These
You
men
know,
have no shame.
you know.
Okay, wait. So take me back. Okay, take me back.
Yeah.
So, okay, this gentleman obviously invited you to a date.
Yes.
You obviously weren't necessarily impressed by that. Not necessarily. It wasn't necessarily your taste to go to this place, right?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So I'm guessing was there any conversation
We had
had around the
conversation.
place?
Well, it was not like, to me, it's not having necessarily conversation about the place. It's much more about having conversation about who he is, who I am, and also
Okay.
having an understanding of where we come from, respectively. And to me, making the appropriate decision to invite somebody based on what you see transpires through the conversation. So to me, in choosing that place, there was no connection between what I was communicating to him versus what he suggested. So that's already an indicator of, is he necessarily an active listener, or is he more the type of person that is trying to set up a date that is solely to his convenience, to make an assessment, and not necessarily in alignment with what may be much more pleasurable to me. And that's why I always tease you in the chat when you come with those coffee dates. It's for that reason. I think that you have a point, but I think that equally I have a point, especially when we are in different stages in our lives and we meet people and we converse with them. They start to size our experiences, and to me, saying, well, I want to meet you in the coffee day, I find it to be reductive. And I can understand also the points in which you are in your life that it may be very suited. Okay, do you see where I'm coming from? So, but when I make the decision that yes, I'm going to meet the person regardless of what they have chosen, I will present accordingly. My goal is not to make them feel bad or anything like that. But the reason I asked you this particular question and ask you for your thoughts is, does it speak to something else when somebody, after listening to you, after conversing with you, seems to pick something without any care, but when you arrive and when they see your presentation, suddenly the things change? Because it equally speaks to something else, to also their level of superficiality. So when you talk to women and you say that, some people are trying to, it's not necessarily that they're trying to impress you. It's sometimes, some people say they may try to humble you. And then when they realize that you are truly as you present, suddenly they want to catch up, but they don't understand that their first impression has already been made also. Because I said nothing, Kojo. I arrived and it was presently, hello. And he said, his first reaction is that we can go somewhere else if you want. So that speaks to something else.
Did you go somewhere else?
We went somewhere else.
And was it more your taste?
It was more in my taste, not necessarily like particularly exceptional, but it was definitely more my taste. And I said yes to going somewhere else because I wanted him to appraise that next time he meets a woman, because that was not going to be me, but next time he meets another woman, he chooses a little bit more carefully.
Okay.
Because don't try to reduce the experience because I don't know, I'm not saying it properly, but if you know you can do something, do it properly instead of trying to cut corners for the sake of cutting corners. And when you are presented with the reality, suddenly you want to course correct, but you don't realize that the impression has already been made. Because when we went to the other place, I remember I remained very cordial. I had good conversation with him. He was already making plans for next event. He invited me to his company event. He said, I really want you to accompany me to this particular company event, but he didn't realize that it was already shot for me. Because when he immediately suggested somewhere else, it speaks to the fact that he was withholding the second location because maybe he thought that, oh, if I don't really like what I see, let me not. And dating should not be about that. It should be about trying to connect in a proper level. So I don't know what other people in the chat may be thinking, but
Okay, so you're thinking that him inviting you to that place and then seeing you, he then changed his. He changed the venue because once he saw you, he felt like I guess your presentation and how you look and everything like that, now he can kind of like trust it, and now he can go to the actual place he wanted to go to, that he
I
wanted
don't
to take you
know.
to.
I don't know, because I feel that when you're in, I don't know if you've done any kind of online dating, but a lot of men are very, very, very hung up on your physical appearance. They're
Okay.
always asking
Yeah.
you for pictures, things of that
I
nature.
agree.
I find it to be very exhausting. I don't like this because I'm trying to see, how am I connecting with this person? Am I enjoying the conversation? Do I want to get to know more? But it's always constant, and I have to admit that I am not a fan of sending pictures beyond any kind of profile that I may have on I don't like sending pictures beyond, let's say, whatever profile I may have, because I feel that as you get to know me, first of all, there is, if your pictures tell a story, it should convey in the way, again, you're conversing with the person, you can see the consistency, things of that nature. So maybe I'm approaching it in a little bit of a through a utopic lens, but I do not believe so, because I'm not there hounding them for additional picture. I just want to make sure that when I meet them, we can sustain the conversation as expected.
I mean, I think I don't want to dive too deep because I'm going to go away from what you're describing and want to answer the question. But I think I think online dating is it's beneficial in terms of being able to access different options. But the reality is, men have a biology, and I think I think the struggle behind some men is that they want to be able to see what you look like. They want to know what you look like, and it's actually really important to them. And it's really important to me. Let me just be honest with you. It's really important to us. That shouldn't necessarily, I mean, that still makes me feel some type of way about the fact that, you get there and immediately wants to change the location. That for me is not about looks. That's more a character issue. That's got nothing to do with money or anything. That's to do with character. If I've invited you somewhere and now I've seen you and I want to change it suddenly, unless maybe you were overdressed and he was overdressed, then I don't know. What did you feel overdressed at a place? Was it a sports bar he took you to?
No, it was a place that was fairly casual. I was dressed like, business casual, like nice, cleanly, whatever, stylish, but nothing overboard.
Okay, so more of a comfortable place, and then the next place he took you was a bit more stylish. More up, but was it the next place that you went to was a bit more stylish, a bit more?
It was a little bit more stylish, a different crowd, much more mature crowd. The atmosphere was much more conducive to kind of a date experience that was a little bit more intimate, I would say also.
Okay. I mean, personally, like I said, I think that's more of a character issue. You know what I mean? Like, and obviously you made the right choice of not going on a second date. I wouldn't go on if someone that tells me that you're not being authentically you. You know what I'm saying to you? Yeah, you're not being authentically you, which is what I'm saying. Like that a lot of people get hung up on external things and they're trying to impress or they're trying to do certain things that become manipulation, stuff like that. But I'll be honest with you, like that's a character issue. If I invite you somewhere, I'm gonna want you to be there. Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna be confident in the place I chose. Do you know what I'm saying to you? Like if I chose that place and I invited you, then I need to be confident in what I chose. And if you didn't like it, all right, cool, I get it. Sometimes we don't like places and stuff like that, and that happens. You can always say, listen, next time we'll go to somewhere else. But for me personally, if That's a character issue. I'm not sure exactly 100% why he would do that, apart from if unless he's trying to test you, or maybe he saw you and just was like, actually, she's actually much better than this place I'm putting out, and maybe he thought to himself, I have to do a better job. But again, that would then breed, that would then say to me, that's an insecurity, and I wouldn't want to be in that position. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're gonna like me for me, you know what I mean,
Because
or we're not.
to me, it would have been
Yeah.
better if he had suggested a next date in a different location than changing the location immediately. I
Yeah.
think it would have, as you say, him standing on his primary choice and then demonstrating a little bit more insight in his second selection. That's it. It could have been easy like that, but when he did it like that, to me, it was very much of a turnoff.
And that's fair. I agree with that, to be honest. I wouldn't ask a sister to go back on a second date with that. You've messed it up. But, yeah, because we can't trust that you're
No.
going to be a sensible person after that. You know what I mean? If you're so easily swayed to change it at that point in time, you might do something. You know what I mean? Like that's not giving me a safe energy. You know what I
No,
mean?
it's not.
So I agree with you 100%. I wouldn't have gone on a second date, to be honest, if I'm honest with you. And that's what he has to work on.
No, definitely not. But again, just for giggles, so the coffee date when the guy brought his baby, brought a toddler on the coffee date. And again, I remain pleasant, having conversation and gaga with the little baby. And what was really funny, I don't know if the child had not been in the presence of a woman for a long time, but he seemed to need that affection. So when it was time to part, it became a scene where the baby did not want to live with his father, wanted to live with me. So to all your coffee date advocates where you feel that you can present like any way you want, please be careful and do not bring your baby. That's not a good
Oh my
move.
God. Again, you know what? Again, clearly that baby needs attention. But
Yeah, the baby needed attention. It
that
was
baby
it
probably
was
needs
sad. It was more sad than anything, to tell you the truth. It was a little, you know, it was a little bit heartbreaking. And I understand that people say, terrible twos, they throw tantrums, but not in that way. There was not enough time to create that level of attachment for the child to just be like clinging to you and just want to stay with you. He was very ashamed by the behavior of his baby, and I don't think it's the baby's fault. Actually,
it could also be that you have a motherly instinct and the baby senses that.
I've been told. Yeah.
Okay, so that it might not necessarily be that he was bad. It might be the fact that he's got a motherly instinct and the kid is drawn to you. You know what I mean? Children are very, they instinctively might get drawn to certain people like that who have that kind of instinct. You know what I mean? So it could have been that as well. But yeah, I mean, don't bring your baby on the first date. I mean, that just says it all, to be honest. You know what I mean? Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that. Yeah.
But definitely. Well, thank you so much. I don't know. Is there anything else?
No, not yet. I'm sure we've got more that will come in the next few weeks when we do these more. So I'm sure you'll have some more for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely. And
by
the way, yesterday you made a very good suggestion on for Ready to Love about hosting your own reunion. I think it would be a very good idea. It would definitely be a good idea. Several parts because we want to laugh.
Yeah, we need several parts.
There
won't even be enough space to do all of them on the here. So
no, definitely not. But keep up the good job. Like, definitely enjoy the content. So keep it up, my dear.
Thank you
so much.
Appreciate you. Stay away from the kids.
Glad.
Coffee shops. Appreciate you, babe.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, babe. All righty. Shout out to Haitian Empress as well for always keeping it real. And she graced us with her story as well, and I appreciate it, man. Listen, please keep your children at home if you're going on a date. It's not going to buy you any brownie points. Okay. 3.0. What is your dating question or dilemma? Or
Hi, Little Black Book. I
Hey, baby.
actually, I do have a question, but I wanted to comment on both Samuel and the Haitian Empress and kind of
Yeah,
give
go
some
for it.
validity to the way Samuel feels. I do feel like now, because I just started dating again, I do feel like when I'm dating, everybody is kind of being superficial and going based off of like verbatim what they're hearing on a podcast and not coming in as their genuine self. And I think that's what Haitian Empress is speaking to, is that if your genuine self, your first thought wasn't to take me on a coffee date or wherever he took her, um, then that's not where you should have taken me. You should have taken me where you would have wanted to take someone that you were interested in. And if the issue of wanting to see if I really was who I am, which I think in 2023, I don't think people still are catfishing, but
Mm.
um, then FaceTime me. Or, if we get to the
Fair.
restaurant, you have a valid point to tell me you don't want to continue on a date if I am a catfish. Like, you don't have to take me on the date at that point. So I do think a lot of people are going in superficial and just not being true to who they are. They're just taking pointers A, B, C, D from a podcast and not actually really just taking in the information and just applying that to who they actually naturally are. Um, so that does make people come in superficial and guarded. But he did get deeper, Samuel, and he talked about rejection that he dealt with in grade school, which I think a lot of young men or young boys deal with rejection in grade school. And that can affect the way that they feel like they're not being, someone's not being open to them or not accepting them, or the validity is not given to them. So I think that one thing he has to understand as well is a lot of boys in grade school deal with rejection, and a lot of girls in grade school deal with predatory behavior. So you're coming from two sides of a totally different spectrum. As a
Mm.
girl, you're coming in and you're like, hey, I've dealt with being preyed on. So that's why I thought it was a little, the comment he made about like sexual assault, that, things like that. Sorry if I shouldn't say that, but that women are dealing with. A lot of people deal with that even before they become a woman. So I don't think you can necessarily say, I'm attracting this type of person, because most girls have dealt with that and most boys have dealt with rejection. So when you're coming in, I would say, I don't know if this is the case, a lot of women come in guarded because on my dating experience, I've been on some nice dates, but on the first date, some motorcycles outside, but on
That's
the
all right.
first date, they're asking for intimacy. You could be covered from head to toe, and they don't feel like you're accepting them if you're not willing to go back home with them or kiss them, or just because you're attractive they want to be able to touch you. And it's like,
Mm.
can we get to a few dates before we get there? So sometimes a lot of women can come in guarded because we go on dates and it feels like, because you brought me a meal, the men start to feel like I'm being used because I was rejected as a child. And then the women feel like, because you fed me, you think that now I have to sleep with you. So there
Mm.
is like this guarded thing on both ends of the spectrum. Um, and I just don't think, I think people should take that into account when they're going on dates. Just both be open and ready to actually experience each other on that first date without any expectations from one another. I mean, even if people want to start asking dates, I mean, I'm 33, so I still like fun stuff, like going to like game rooms and stuff where it doesn't require you to feed me. But just something where you can naturally get to know each other without the expectation of either feeling like you're spending money that is just to feed somebody, or you're coming in with the idea that you're going to have to sleep with someone. I think that's what makes people guarded on that first date. But that's just from my experience. I've been on 3 nice dates since I started dating, and they all have wanted something at the end of the date. It's like so uncomfortable. Um, and then back to Aquarius 87. I was in the chat just saying like, hey, don't do guy A because I like literally cried all day today almost dealing with guy A. I'm like, he's the military guy. He's the provider. When I first met him, he was in a had a full blown family. And when I met him, I could tell that things were being moved out of the house. Like they were in the middle of a breakup. And I don't know if I was so naive because I had been single for so long that I didn't see it like right at the beginning. But as time went on, I was like, why does it look like a woman decorated this house? And why does it look like things are moving out of the house? So when we were dating, I enjoyed actually being with somebody who seemed to have their things in order, which most military men do seem to have their things in order. But as time went on, I realized like, oh, he's still not sure with the mother of his child. So he's kind of going in between me and this woman now. And just I left and I spun the block once I thought that he was actually really, really single. And he was, but at that point he was so bitter about the relationship not working with his child's mother, he kind of placed me in this friend zone and but also telling me like we're going to be this, we're going to be that. And that went on for 4 years. I'm at 4 years of like this non-committal but this person providing for me, this person showing up in every other way but the commitment. So now I'm just like, okay, I have to get away from this. So I started dating. And while I was dating, like I said, they're all wanting to sleep on that first night. So I was just like, I'm going to go back around this person because I'm having a hard time with this. And I did meet somebody that I actually liked. Now, somebody already answered the question in the chat, so I just took that answer. But we were like vibing for 3 weeks. He was very attentive, very motivational, very like, I liked his personality, and I liked that he was very attentive throughout the entire time we were talking, and he was taking his time, which is, like I said, I'm not used to guys taking their time. And I finally asked the question about the kids. I don't know why I waited so long, but he had 9 children with 6 women. I said, you know what? I was like, I cannot. And somebody else I went on a date with had 6 children by 3 women. And I was like, what is happening? So that's why I went back around this guy again, basically. But it's like the manipulation just makes me feel kind of stuck, and the comfort makes me feel stuck. So I just would say to Aquarius 87, which is funny because he's an Aquarius, please stay away from that. Like those military manipulators, it's a whole different ball game, and it's not easy to get out of. And you get stuck in this pattern of them, like, even if they are going to commit to you, like she said, when she first got with him, he was cheating on her. I mean, cheating with her, but you still don't want to be the person that they're cheating on. You don't want to be the person that they're cheating with. You don't want to be the person that they're cheating on. She thinks that if they get together and he actually commits to her in a relationship, that's going to hold more weight than her being the person he's cheating with. He's still going to cheat on you. So I just don't think it's a good idea. And I'm fighting tooth and nail to get out of the situation. So that's not something I would advise her to get into. I was like, but my question was, and somebody already answered it, should I date this person that I'm connecting to that has children by multiple women? And I was just like, okay, I already got my answer. So I
My
got
question,
it.
there is a question I want to ask though. Why would you consider it?
I considered it because, like I said, I'm not used to people taking their time with me when it comes to like, and I've had childhood sexual trauma. Of course, most women in this chat probably have. So when you meet somebody who's being vulnerable with you, that is encouraging you, that is not trying to move fast with you as far as sexually, that person makes you feel comfortable because you're like, okay, I don't get this. So let me, but then it's like, but then how did you end up with, because like I said, it took me 3 weeks to ask the question about the kids. But I'm like, how did you end up with 6 children? I mean, 9 children by 6 women. If you are this patient, it seems like once you have conquered this person or this woman, then the patient stops there. I don't know. I'm like, how do you get to that point? And when I asked him, like, how did you get to that point? I asked him, his answer was, I don't know. And I said, okay, so But every day he tries to prove to me like, well, I've stopped talking to him now, and I went back around military guy. But every day he would try to prove to me like, I take care of all of my kids, and I was just young and I was going through a lot, and I'm like, yeah, that's a lot. And I was like, I missed the way that person made me feel, but I'm like, that is a lot. But somebody in the chat already said definitely not. So I was like, okay. I was like, I'm 33. I feel like a lot of people have baggage. So baggage doesn't scare me off, but that was like, and I couldn't stop saying like every day when I talked to him after that, like, that's a lot. That's a lot.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, there is such thing called emotional F boys.
Yeah.
I know them very well because I was one. So I know
I think I'm attracting
exactly
boys.
you may be because they're sensing your poor boundaries emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
So emotional F boys work on the poor boundaries that people have. We work on poor boundaries. We work on desperation. Okay. We work on people who are, or should I say, women who are easily fall in love.
Mm-hmm.
We work with these people because they often and easily fall in love is another word for poor boundaries. You know what I mean? Like they fail to vet. They go head heels into things and want to feel the sensation of falling in love more than they actually want to vet and make sure they're safe emotionally.
Yeah.
Right. So what happens is people like yourself, unfortunately, become prey.
Yeah, and I think
Because
when I kept asking too many questions, that kind of scared him off a little bit because he stopped calling as much. But I was like, I'm at a point now in life where I'm asking a lot of questions because I want to know, like, I'm like you said, I don't fall as fast as I probably have before because now I'm like, I have a lot of questions. And he did start slowing down on calling me, and I was like, I think there's something else. There's something else in the water here.
he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. He works with women who have those poor boundaries, poor emotional regulation, whatever. And then he gets inside of the mind. He conquers the mind. They fall in love. They're like, oh my God, I've never been treated this way. Before you know it, you're the seventh baby mother. And you're asking yourself, I don't know how I got here.
How did I become?
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
was watching that girl on TikTok, like a random man in Atlanta. Have you watched that? The girl who got pregnant by the guy who had. Oh, she's hilarious. But I was like, it was a coincidence that I was watching her while I was talking to him, and I'm like, you sound like that random guy in Atlanta that has all the baby moms. But yeah, I already got my question answered. I'm not going that direction, and I'm trying to get out of the situation with the manipulative military man.
Wait, you're trying to?
Yeah, I went back around him after I realized, like, hey, this guy with this now, once he told me he had 6 kids and 9 women, I was like, oh, well, should I go back to the person who only has children with 1 woman? And he seems to have a little more discipline, but that, like you said, trauma meets trauma. And I think because he's had so many, like where I was preyed on as far as like as a child, he was preyed on in different ways too. Like women lying about being pregnant by him, women, breaking condoms to try to get pregnant by him. That happening a lot in his life before he actually had a family. Well, that's his story. That's his story. So I'm like, it sounds like
he was having that much sex that women were breaking listen, don't get to women can do some crazy things. I've seen some wild things.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
I have too.
This is sounding like a sub story to
Okay.
make it sound like he could be a victim. I'm not saying that he isn't one. I'm just saying that when you start hearing 2 or 3 stories like that, like, oh my God, like women always are toxic around me. Women are always, they start off good and they end up bad. Do you know why? Because you the problem. That's why they keep going bad. Those ladies keep going bad. So whenever you hear those kind of stories, babe, it's time to run. Because he's trying, what he's doing is eliciting your emotional, he's eliciting to try and pull out your emotions. So you start to feel some type of way, like, oh my God, like, I can't believe this guy's gone through so much. Like we both see each other. Like he wants to bond over the trauma. It is an absolute manipulation technique.
I actually heard those stories from people in the community who wanted us to date, and then I asked him about it, and he verified those stories. So that's kind of
Okay,
how
so
it came
cheating.
about. But even like the first time that
Wait,
I got out,
who confirmed it?
he confirmed it once I asked him
No,
about it. I was like, I
no,
keep
the
this
people,
story.
the people in the community who confirmed it.
Like what? Who? Like friends, family members?
You said that other people have said that they confirmed it about him.
Oh no, I heard
That he
those
was having
stories
such
from I heard those stories from like friends of his, family members of his, family members of mine. And once we started really dating, I asked him about it, and he verified the stories that those things were happening to him, like with women that he dated. Because people were basically telling me things that he'd been through and thought that I would be a better partner for him. So we were hooked up.
Mm.
And even when I tried to get out of the situation, he calls around to family members and friends, and they convinced me to get back into the situation.
Oh,
Let's get it
baby.
deeper. Let's get it deeper.
Baby, I'm gonna say
Yeah.
this. Listen, look. Let me just say this. Look. Okay, he might be innocent. He really might be. But if this goes wrong, you're fucked. I'm just gonna say it straight. Like, I don't want to swear, but I had to say it straight. Let me tell you why. Okay. Because if everyone now has a story, more than likely, ask them where they got the story from. Because, like, even if people are saying it around you, you have to check where is the source of that story coming from and where you trace it from. Because sometimes this situation, let me tell you something. I don't want to say it's narcissist or anything. I'm not going to say that. But this sounds like the most dangerous plot of where you're never going to get out of the situation. I'll tell you why. Because what we call this is a spider's web, right? Let me give you a very small version of this, right? The small version of a spider's web, okay? The small version of a spider's web is to go to, let's say, like, you're my friend, right?
Mhm.
Sorry, let's say like you're my girlfriend, but then I know your friend. So what I will do is, like, I'll go to your friend and be like, oh, man, I just miss, you know, 3.0 so much, man. You know, she's my 4.0, my 1.0, my 2.0. You know what I mean? I just miss her so much. Like, and what I'm doing is I'm spinning a web. And what I'm doing is I'm getting through to you through your friend. I know your friend's gonna tell you. You understand what I'm saying to you, right? So now what happens is, as that information passes, the web begins to vibrate, begins to shake. Now, this sounded a bit, and it can sound elaborate, but listen, Negroes can do a lot in life. I'm telling you this now. But the fact that everyone was saying the same idea, that these women keep trying to, or women are around him that are either
Trap him.
toxic or trying to trap him, and they're always trying to do that. Sometimes those stories are coming from the same source, him.
Yeah.
And he done told everybody, listen, and you know, people like that, I'm not saying it's him per se. And again, I'm saying with precaution to the wind, I'm not saying it's actually him. But let me give an example of how this can play out. People who are manipulators, you know, because I was one, so I know. It's a conversation in passing. It's like, oh, let's say I spoke to your mom, and we're like, oh man, I just had a situation. Like, these girls are so crazy. Like, this girl tried to literally like trap me. I've told your mom. Then I go and tell your brother, or I go and tell an uncle. I'm just giving an example, random example, right? But it's real like innocent almost, in the way I'm kind of saying it. So what happens is, because it's mentioned almost like in passing, people take it on as it's factual. They don't check it, they don't try to see, and maybe they saw one girl move a bit wild, right? And then they assume the story is true because they got confirmational bias. Doesn't actually mean that it actually is true. It just means that he might be about smart about it. I mean, this guy sounds like he's somebody who can charm the pants of any woman. Am I correct? He seems pretty charming.
He's the least attractive man I've ever been with. So
Girl, I said charming. I didn't say looks. I
yeah.
said
Oh no,
charming.
yeah. I don't know. He stutters. He's not the most charming person. I've been with more charming people. I don't know.
So
That's
he
the other.
stutters, everything like that, and he's unassuming in looks, and yet all
Yeah.
these women are falling over him. Sis, does alarm bells not ring? It has to ring.
Oh
You're
no,
telling me
they
he's not
rung.
even the most pretty person, and he's not a charmer. Let me tell you something. That guy is the most toxic person you're ever going to meet, because if he's not the charming guy, he's not the good-looking kind of guy, he's doing something behind doors. Trust me.
Yeah, they've
Go on.
rung, and I am slowly but surely. I don't like to call people narcissists because I'm like, I'm tired of hearing that
I don't
word.
like that either.
But it's slowly but surely starting to feel that way, and I'm like, why is this? This is the least attractive person I've ever been with. Of course, I find them attractive because I've been around so long. This is the least charismatic person I've been around, but it's the most difficult situation to like leave. And I'm like, what the hell? I was like, it's like ridiculous, but I'm like actively doing my work to get out of the situation. Like,
When you say actively doing the work, what does that mean? That sounds fun, sounds fantastic, but what does that mean?
um, I will say the first thing that I did was, so I started to go to therapy, and at first I was asking him if he wanted to go to therapy too. He said he didn't want to work on himself. So I'm like, okay, but I'm still going, you know. So I went through that, but my therapist ended up losing her or closing her practice because she was going
Oh
through
damn.
so much. And then I went on a spiritual retreat in Mexico. That had more to do with the childhood trauma and
Okay.
everything. So I don't know. I'm like, I'm trying so much stuff, but it still feels like like you said, a web. Because when I got back home from the retreat, my brother called and my stepbrother, and he was just like, we're doing business together. He's being mean to me since you left. I think that, can you call him? And like, he's basically saying like the financial. I don't want to put too much on
That's
here,
fine. You don't have to put
but
too much in.
he felt like they were having a hard time with business because I wasn't in the picture anymore. So that's how I got back around again. And I was just like, even that made me feel used. I don't know. It's a sad situation. So I don't want to go too much into it, but I'm
Okay, don't
trying.
go too much detail, but let me you just have to say yes or no. You don't have to say anything. Here's what I'm hearing. Okay, let me tell you what I'm hearing. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. So we've got a situation between yourself and this gentleman. He's treating you real nice, I'm guessing, treating you real good, patient with you. I mean, this guy is just he's just different from the rest, it seems like, in the last few years, because he's really taking his time to get to know you. Okay. So, you guys get along, it's vibing, it's everything great. But what was really interesting is what you mentioned, right? You said obviously, you wanted to go and heal, you wanted to go and elevate yourself, self-develop, etc., etc. You go away, but when you come back, or not even come back, but you're a family member who called you and was like, oh, I feel like things have shifted between me and him because of your situation, and you go back. Two things that I'm hearing here. Number one, you caved in, right? Why are we surrendering to the demands or even the suggestions of family about their relationship with him, which has nothing to do with your relationship with him, because you're in a romantic sense, right? So the first question I'm asking is this: why are you so easily swayed? Which tells me there's a breach. There's a breach that's already happened from when you were young, in terms of how much you place emphasis on how much their voice has a weight in what you do and how you feel about you, right? That's number one. Number two, the other aspect is, why is it so damn close? Okay? Why is it so damn close? It's too close. Okay? But now he's with the family. He has to stay with while he's with your brother. Whatever happens with the brother stays with the brother. It's got nothing to do with you. They shouldn't call you. I don't care if your mom, I don't care if he, he has dinner with your mom. That's their business. It's got nothing to do with you. And so for you personally, if that means you have to create distance between you and family members, you may need to do that, because this is sounding dangerously too close for me. And this is getting to a place where someone's trying to enmesh themselves in your life. That's where things happen and go really wrong for people, because the very people who are your family and who love you are the very first people who also will miss those red flags. Because whilst he's being nice and trying to, when things go wrong, they're gonna be like, just give him a chance. This is how people end up being emotionally abused, physically, and then killed. And the family like, I don't know how it happened. What do you know how it happened? Well, when he was here swooning over everybody, nobody was really vetting him. So I'm saying that it sounds like the infection has reached the village. I'm gonna need you to, if it requires so, to create distance from the village. If it requires so, if they can't keep the boundaries between you and that person, you have ended that situation with them. They need to keep. If they're gonna keep a relationship with him, that's fine, but they got to keep it over there. It's got nothing to do with you. Right? So don't feel bad about the fact that you've cut off ties or you don't want to have conversation. You are no longer the pendulum, nor are you the person that has the power to change this person's mind. I don't care if their business is going down the drain. That's a them thing. It's got nothing to do with you anymore. Right? Do you know what I'm saying to you? You've finished with it. It's got nothing to do with you. Don't let them make you feel bad. Don't let them make you feel guilty. Don't let them make you feel sad. Don't make them make you feel like, you know what, I have to do something because if I don't do anything, something won't change. That's how they get you. And that's both family and this individual person, right? So I would advise you to stick to your healing journey, sit on that bench, leave them to do what they're doing on the field, and then you take your journey individually. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you have anybody that supports you? And I mean, like family wise, that really supports you? Oh, sorry. I don't know if you heard me 3.0. I said, do you have anyone that family wise that supports you?
Yeah, my dad doesn't like him. My dad supports me.
Okay. Well, it seems like your dad is a sharp tool. So he sees what he sees. He's a man, he knows. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that would be my advice, babe. Okay. All right. Let me ask you a question, though. Just are we intimate as well still? You have to answer that question in the last way, but
It's been 3 weeks.
Okay. I'm gonna need it to be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna need it. That's the hardest part because that's what creates during that intimacy. We have dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. Oxytocin and serotonin are important because they help with the bonding, right? Okay, they help with a bonding agent between you and the individual person, right? The dopamine rush is what creates a feeling of goodness. So whenever we're intimate with people, right, and especially when there's feelings involved, that makes it that much harder. In fact, chemically, your brain is changing, so it's going to feel much harder. But when we create that distance emotionally, mentally, spiritually, sexually, financially, create it all across the board, it makes it easier for you to be objective because you slow the car down, right? So you can actually start seeing the details that are actually happening in front of you. So I'm saying to you, baby, listen, whatever you got to do, okay, whatever you got to do to stay away, you stay away. Don't fall for the tricks. Don't fall for the guys. The Bible says we are not ignorant of his devices. We know what device they're going to use. He's going to try and guilt trip you. You know, I miss you. You know, I care about you. You know, I've always loved you. Like, he's going to try all these bars and he's going to try and get in as many ways as he wants because he wants to see, are you really serious?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying to you? So stand your ground, babe. You know what I'm saying to you? The Bible says submit to God and resist the devil and flee. What that means is when the test comes, when the test comes, stand in your truth. Right? Stand in your truth and believe in that truth and let that truth be what separates you from the deceit and the lies. You know what I'm saying to you? Yeah?
Yeah.
You're going to do everything. You're going to cry. You're going to roll. You know what I mean? He might even go as far as saying, listen, baby, I'm going to take my life. That's his business. It's got nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying to you. Yeah.
He has blatantly said like what you just said, like you love it over here, and I'm like, actually, it's a lot for me. It's like, so yeah, I hear you. I'm gonna figure it out.
Stick to daddy, man. If daddy's supporting you, stick to daddy. Daddy knows what he's talking about. Daddy got your back. He gonna cover you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
I appreciate it, 3.0. Reach out back to me if anything, okay? We want to make sure you're good as well, all right?
Okay.
All right. Appreciate you, sis. All right. Okay. Jaftia. Is it Jaftia?
Jafia.
Jafia. Thank you very much. Jafia.
Jafia.
Like the name. Does it mean anything?
It means to kneel down to God.
Oh, okay. Okay. I like that. Talk to me, sis. What are we saying?
Okay, so first, thank you for opening up this platform for us to come and talk about relationships. It's really, really cool that you're doing this. And then, so I have like 2 issues. One is, like when I'm going out or I'm trying to attract male energy, find someone. I find it like really, really hard just to be like vulnerable as far as like going out and having that feminine, um, what is that, like divine feminine energy, just in my
Mm.
appearance. So, like, just wearing my hair down and wearing a dress and heels and like makeup, or just not too much makeup, but just a little bit, and just going out and just being me. Like, so I find it hard because when I'm that way, I get a lot of guys coming over. And I get scared. I get scared and I get like, oh my, I get overwhelmed and I'm just like, I don't know. I just want to hide. I just want to run and hide.
Mm.
And I don't want to do that. Like I want to feel like how I feel when I'm at home, and I'm just
Mm.
myself. So what I usually do is I usually take it away. Like I will go barefaced. I'll tie something over my hair and just be pretty casual when I go out. But I really like to dress up and just look great. But like I said, I mostly have like I think some issues when it comes to like because when men see you and well when I'm dealing with myself, but when men see me or they
Mhm.
get that feeling to come, it's like they chase you. I was feeling what she was saying when she said like that predator vibe where
Mm.
like when you're the young girl and like these old men when you're on your way to school or whatever out of town they're like making cat calls at you and stuff like that and you've been told to respect your elders but at the same time you're like this is not right like so I still just have trepidation when it comes to them because when these guys come hard they can be very convincing, and
Mm.
it could be courting you, you'll be swooning, they'll be feeding you so much. It just becomes this great big thing and it's hard to decipher what's real and what's not, and not
Mm.
to get caught up. So I just do it to just sort of like sift through the guys that guys like nice pretty things, but just someone that can really see me or hear me, because sometimes they just want you there because you represent something. You're kind of like an object in some way to them, and they show you off to your friends, or you just like a symbol. So, like I said, I just want someone to love me for who I am on the inside, and I know men are visual. I know they're visual, but like I said, it just becomes overwhelming, and I just get like spooked, and I don't. It's just too much. It becomes too much, and then you won't find out until like later, much later, like what's really going on. And now you've invested your time and your heart and your energy, and you form bonds. You start to care about the person, and it just becomes a whole big thing. And another thing too. So I I have like some like now I kind of pull back because of someone from my past, like a past love that is hard to let go. I'm switching to my second point. Um so even let's say I go on a date with someone and it's good, it's great, and I'm like, okay, I kind of like him and see, let's see what's going on. I still have like some I don't know, just like some of my heart is locked up in my past, my ex. And I feel like I've always had that. So even before my ex, there was somebody else that was still in my heart that I was still like, you just sort of like, oh, I wish I was still with him. Oh, he was so great and he was so this and he was so that. And you just still have that longing for the last bond that I had or that last big
Mm.
relationship. So I don't want to go in to my future just having that because I feel like it's not fair to the next person and it kind of holds me back and it keeps me kind of aloof and
Mhm.
and I don't always value what I have in front of me or what it could be. But I don't know if that's just normal or it's not because it sort of keeps me like not going out in the dating world as much as I know I could be.
Mhm.
And then I want to say this last thing. Let's say like when a guy's approaching me, like I can see when a guy is like about to come over to me. Like they'll start like you start seeing them everywhere. Like they'll be in this aisle and then they'll be in that aisle.
Mm.
So they're trying to muster the courage to like come over and talk to you and stuff like that. And you can see, right? But it's like when they come over, like I mean, I get like panicked. I think my face shows it and it scares the guys
Mm.
off. It scares them off. And I just want to stop doing that, but I don't really know how, you know?
Okay. Okay. So it sounds so to correct me if I'm wrong. So it said you're saying that you do want the man to come over, but when they do come over, you feel a sense of anxiety. There's a sense of nervousness when they come over. You don't feel necessarily safe.
Yeah, I feel like, oh my God, like, yes, I do. And even a little bit of panic. I was like, you know how you feel this, that girlish like energy, like, oh my God, somebody's coming, he's getting closer, and it's just this buildup in my mind, like, oh my God. And then, yeah, and I just kind of freak out a little bit in my head because I don't know if it's just like, I've been down these roads. You get in relationships, and I mean, I get in, I go deep, and um, I really put my heart into things, So I just, um, yeah. So yeah, I do get anxious to answer your question.
Okay. So when did you notice this started? That this anxiety towards men approaching you, coming in your space. When did you notice that this was a feeling you had?
I mean, maybe like 5 years ago or so, around
Okay.
that time.
What was happening 5 years ago?
I mean, like that's when I was sort of like, I would be my ex. We were on and off, on and off, on and off.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it has to do with that situation where like I would go on these highs with him and then these lows and then these highs and then these lows. So maybe like when guys came over, maybe they represented this like kind of this torment, this emotional roller coaster, this instability, this unpredictability, this uncertainty, madness, this like it's all of this stuff. I mean, I love emotions, but not that kind of roller coaster, And so maybe that's what it is, just this panic. Because like I said, with my ex, I fell hard from day one. Like
There we go.
he was just doing all the right things, and he was an amazing dream for me. I was just so happy. And then then it went down, and then it goes up, and then so it was around that time.
How long were you together for?
Maybe like 5 years or so. 5 years.
Okay. And you trusted him 100% at the time.
I mean, no. That's why it was up and down, because we would break up and come together. It wasn't 100. Like initially, yes. He didn't have a reason for me to fall, to fall back or to not. I mean, he was doing all the right things, so I was like open. I mean, yeah.
Okay. And the ups and downs, what does that mean?
The ups and downs was like he was hot and cold. Like he kind of was a hothead. He had a temper. And then he would lay it on thick, like I said. He would lay it on thick. He would say things that you'd just be like, wow, that's how you feel about me? And it was just like, are you serious? Just different things like that I didn't know for him it was that serious. And it would move me. And then when he couldn't get what he wanted, or, I had my boundaries, he would get upset and he would get mad and he would get nasty. And he would go up and he would disappear. But he would always come back. He would always come back and he would try again, and I was like, okay, let's see this time. And so it was kind of like that sort of dynamic.
Did he ever get in your face?
I mean, he didn't have to get like nose to nose. He just had that energy. He just had that very like strong, powerful, almost crazy lunatic type. Like you don't even want to play with him type. Like I understood when he was upset, But he didn't even have to like get in my face. I felt.
But did he?
eventually, maybe like once or twice later down the road. You know?
hmm
I mean, initially, after like our first, not the first, like the second date, I mean, I thought this guy was crazy. And I literally ran down the street away from him. I was like, no, I don't have nothing to do with this. This guy is, oh, he was just, he was just really volatile. And then
In what way? Oh, well, you mean volatile in terms of behavior?
his
What?
emotions, his extremes, his anger, his
Okay.
anger, the way he got when he was upset, it was just like, oh my God, this guy gonna try to
Mm.
kill me or something? Like, I don't know. I was just like, let me get out of here. I gotta get out of here. I don't see him. I don't talk to him. Nothing to do with him. And I would just, I was literally running away. And then
Mm.
after a while, I cooled off. I was like, well, I guess maybe I was overreacting, or maybe I was just, I was whatever, because I'm fine. I'm safe.. Nothing happened. And then he would come back on a different note. And then slowly and little by little, he would like work his way in. So I just figured like he's probably got a lot of issues from his past. He did. And I just
How did
took
he work his way in? If the
um
second day you were running down the street, how did he work his way in?
he kept calling, he kept calling and calling. And once I realized that like, I'm home, I'm safe, there's nothing wrong, and I just reflect on what happened, I would just think like, like I said, maybe I overreacted, or maybe things weren't as bad as it seemed. Or what about that first impression he made? Like, how did he go from this to this? Something's missing. So sometimes it was just be like my curiosity, or feeling bad for him, or him just keep calling and calling or texting, or like, I'm sorry, or I apologize, or like, I hope you like the food, or I didn't really mean to like go that far type thing. Like he would say stuff like that to me. And then
Mm.
he would like, hey, can I meet you just to talk for a little while? Or can I see you for a little while? Like, can I meet you here? Nothing like a date, but just to talk like in
Mm.
person. So I would be like, okay, maybe for a few minutes, let me see what you got to say. And then he would
Okay.
just take it easy. He would be calm again. He would just be like normal. And I would say, okay, you're coming with this energy. So, okay, like, all right, then we'll forget that and move on. But and I did let him know, like I said, he didn't get physical like later, but his anger, he was always angry and get
Mm.
storming off. But he'd come back and he'd be different. So he had
Okay.
his like temper tantrums.
Okay. I mean, have you seen this behavior on someone else before? This boyfriend?
Not anybody I dated. I never had any person I dated act like that. You know, never. I mean, I would never like deal with guys where I thought they had any disrespect toward me. I was very intolerant, uh,
Mm.
that sort of thing. But with him, I think it was that first impression. It just it just made me see him as such a mentally. You know what I mean?
I do. So I'm trying to understand the root here, because clearly you identified at the time that this person was something aside what you're used to, but that he managed to wear you down, which then makes me feel like this is not the first time you've encountered this kind of energy, and it might not necessarily be from him. It might be from someone else, or it might be from a family member or someone friend or whatever, because you've identified that there's a threat, but then you've neutralized the threat and gone along with it and allowed the person to wear you down. So I'm
Okay.
in my head,
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out who has crossed your wires first
So
before the gentleman did.
I hear you. I understand. So I would say my mom, because my mom would be in and out of my life. And she would like when she would come around, she would love bomb me, because she wasn't
Okay.
raising me. She had problems with addiction. This guy also had problems with addiction, which was,
Mm.
I didn't know initially, it was probably the root of his highs and lows, why he was so extreme with that. But my mom would come in and love bomb me, and she would be the best thing. I never experienced love like that. I would never experienced like how much she used to celebrate me when she would come around. And then she would go away. I wouldn't hear from her. And then, I mean, that would break my heart. Or she wouldn't come around when she said she would. And I would be wondering about her and wondering about us. And then she'd come back again. I didn't know she was alive. I didn't know she was dead. I didn't know what. So, I mean, it was cold in the sense of like, okay, well, you're out there chasing your addiction. But then when you come around and you show me all this love when I'm in your presence, you know, but then you leave me. And then you're chasing this thing and I'm your child. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, maybe that's the connection of like somebody wearing you down because, I mean, sometimes I would get angry with her. Like, why are you doing this? Like, why won't you choose me? Why won't you be committed? Why won't you get your life together or clean up or get your, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are you keep in and out, in and out? Like, this is hurtful to me. But, you know, I'm trying and I'm this and I'm that. And, you know, so sometimes I would get upset. I didn't want anything to do with her. And then sometimes I would be like, oh no, I miss my mom. I want to see her, you know, like I need her. So maybe that's the parallel relationship. Because even though my mom was not outwardly aggressive toward me like he was, emotionally, it was painful, the abandonment, you know. It was like very, very, very hurtful. It was brutal. It was brutal.
So mom was in and out of your life. So there's abandonment issues there. In terms of mom coming in and out, choosing when to as well. Just to kind of flip back as well to that gentleman that you obviously dated at the time. Did you feel like he calmed down when did you feel like you had some input in calming him down?
Not really. Not really. I mean, he was out of my control. I cannot control. I mean, hey, I didn't understand what made him tick most of the time. So no, I didn't really feel like I could make him calm down. I couldn't make him do anything.
Okay.
I couldn't make him call or show up or this or that. Like I couldn't make him do anything. I mean, I was surprised that when I would say stuff like as far as my limits, my boundaries, I was surprised when he would actually respect them, even though he wanted, like, let's say he wanted to be physical. And I would be like, no, I don't want to do it or this, that, you know. I mean, he rolled with it. He wasn't happy about it. And he showed that, and then eventually he would honor that. So, I mean, I don't know if you would call that having any type of control over him, but.
Okay. So, you know, I think obviously we probably need a whole coaching session to really go deep into it, but let me give you a quick summary. You know, I'm hearing obviously, like you said, that now obviously being in a place where men now approach you, you feel some anxiety, and it could be several different issues, but it could be the fact that the previous relationship that you were in, that was 5 years, there was a lot of up and down, like I said, turmoil that was happening. What that can also be is that, you know, with that up and down kind of behavior, you know, your body can also be preempting that having to have someone come into your space means opening yourself up again and being vulnerable, exploring that, and they could let you down or they could abandon you or they could hurt you again. So your body could almost be preempting those particular processes happening. And so a man approaching you can make the body actually respond before even your mind does, right? As a precaution aspect as well, right? But it could also be the fact that, you know, like I said, it's only happened in the last 5 years. So actually, no, let me stay away from that because it's only happened in the last 5 years. So I would say that I think with his up and down, with his energy of getting into your face, you know, whether that was him being emotionally quote unquote abusive, whether that means him getting into your face and even physical intimidation, whether it's anger, frustration, and it being demonstrated in your face, the feeling of intimidation and feeling like at any moment anything can happen to you and having no control in that moment can link back to having no control with your mother. Like there's no control with your mother. She can do whatever she wants, come, go whenever she wants, and you have no control. That elicits a place of fear and anxiety. Now, some people decide to use their fear and anxiety to control things. Some people have fear and anxiety and they want to detach from it or run away from it, or they try to avoid it in some sense. And I think what I could be hearing, I'm not saying 100%, what I could be hearing is that when these men approach, you may want them to approach, but as soon as they do, your body is almost going to PTSD mode. It's like it's reacting because it's already starting to think, I have no control of the situation. He can do anything to me. You know what I mean? Anything can happen to me. Like I know he's approaching because he wants to talk to me. But now, if let's say, for instance, you have a situation where you're in the store and you've seen him 2 or 3 times in a store, you might not read it. Your mind, the subconscious that's running underneath, the programming that has been trained to think a certain way, might not think, oh, he's trying to, you know what, this guy's being sweet. He's probably just trying to approach me. Like you said, the subconscious might read it as it's a threat. If there's 2 or 3 times that he's trying to look for me, that I don't know what he's trying to do. You know what I mean? So because the subconscious runs and it's trained to think a certain way, your consciousness might be like, well, I've seen him 2 or 3 times. He probably is trying to just talk to me and muster up some courage to talk to me. But the subconscious is like, we need to protect ourselves. You know what I mean? Like we need to protect ourselves. And so your subconsciousness, which helps kind of the reflexes, that kind of involuntary kind of actions that don't oftentimes are thought about, but rather just done as a motor kind of movement, right? You could be reacting in that particular way. The anxiety could be making the motor functions like, I don't like that. That's not making me feel safe. I'm not feeling comfortable in this space, because you're reliving the moments where you had no control, especially in that 5-year relationship where everything was up and down and someone's getting into your face. You're never really sure about when anything could happen. Now, gladly, nothing did happen, but it doesn't take away the training that you've been put through in those 5 years, right? He inflicted intimidation.
Yes.
His anger inflicted intimidation. So couple that up with the abandonment issues of your parents, that's just not going to be a good good look. So I can understand that potentially that might have been what's working in that situation, right? So that will require you to take a bit of time to just kind of like work on that. And that, I'll be honest with you, like, look, therapy. That's what I'm gonna say. You know, a good therapist will work through you in that situation and actually sit you through it and just kind of just help you maneuver through that. And really unpack that as well. So that would be my thing for you. But I think that's what's working here. You are reacting ahead of time to something. You're premeditating that they may be doing something, or they may be thinking about doing something to you, and you have no control of that situation. And that creates and stirs up the anxiety, which causes you to kind of like, hey, like, this is too much for me. It's overwhelming. And not able to give your full thoughts as to why you're feeling that way, or even say, I don't want to go any further in this conversation with you, or I don't want to date you any longer, because if I do say that, what will happen to me? There's a fear there, right? So yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right. It's all right. No problems at all, sis. All right. We appreciate you. Okay.
Okay, take care.
All right. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. I guess we'll go to the last caller. Precious, talk to me, baby.
What is up, boo thing?
What's good, man?
I feel real lame. My question is real lame. It's been kind of deep tonight. How long do you date somebody before it goes to the next phase?
Ooh. When you say next phase, what does that mean?
Like, to say, hey, this is my person or my significant other, like, this my man.
My man.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, listen, I don't think everybody knows that the perfect answer here is there's no real answer. There's no real answer. The question is, do you know enough to make a decision? Do you know enough to be comfortable enough to make a decision? Do you feel comfortable enough to make a decision?
I do. I don't think the other person is. So like, at what point do I make a choice and decision to walk away? I guess because I'm not young. I don't want to keep wasting my time. You know, so like free up some space for somebody else.
I mean, again, I can't give a specific time, but I mean, you don't want to be giving away a year of your life to someone who's not really sure. I think the reality of the situation is, you gotta give a time limit to that situation. I can't necessarily give you one. What I would say is, if you believe that you're in a place where you're ready to commit, and you ask that person a direct question, are they ready to commit? If they're not giving you an answer that's direct, more than likely they're not going to commit. So it's actually game over.
Okay, that makes sense.
You know what I mean? Like if I say to you, Precious, look, right now I want to date, so I'm serious about dating, and then you ask me saying, hey, okay, great, like I think we've reached a level I want to go forward. My next answer should be in alignment with yours, which is, hey, look, you know what? I'm ready to go forward as well. But they may say like, hey, I've got some apprehensions, or I've got something, I'm not 100% sure at the moment. Then you can ask questions. What is it that you're apprehensive about? You know what I mean? And now if they're gonna start telling you some stories about, grandma, dad, granddad, then there might be something deeper that you actually can't figure out. So that may be it. You know what I mean? My thing is that when you ask direct questions, you want a direct answer. That's the reason why we ask direct questions. I know you're a very direct person, so I know that you ask those questions. But yeah, like, and the reality is, we kind of know when we're holding on to a situation too long. Yeah. Because that person doesn't give us what we actually need in that moment. We can just tell, like, hey, look, I asked you a direct question. They didn't really answer it. But I'll give them a bit of time. And yet they still don't get to that place where we need them to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
so
he told me, this was the answer he gave me, was you have access to my house. And I'm like, I could care less about access to your house. I need access to your heart, mind, body, and spirit. So I guess for me, I could never get him to a place to where he was vulnerable enough for me, if that makes sense. So like,
I hear you.
I guess because I've done the work on me, I'm not necessarily sure if he's completely done the work on him. Because it seemed like, I don't know, I've never been in a situation either where a man talk about his past situation so much. Like, it started to be really weird. Like, I don't want to hear about no other chick all the time. And I had to even tell him that, like, this is an uncomfortable situation. Huh?
What other chick was being spoken about? What does that mean?
His ex-wife. So he
so he was talking about it.
Yeah, he was talking about her a lot. And I'm like, how do you tell a person too in a nice way? Like, I don't think you've completely over that situation without them being offended.
That's not easy.
So I don't know. I don't know. On paper, he is everything I want, but I don't think he's like emotionally and spiritually the person I need, if that makes sense. So I kind of feel like I done wasted a little 5 months of my time.
Well, not necessarily. We've now got a bit more experience underneath your belt, and now you actually can make decisions much more quicker. You know what I mean? Yeah.
True. But hey,
now you know what question. If you review the tape, if you review the tape of that 5 months, you should be able to extract some of the questions that you essentially need to be asked people early, so that you don't have to waste 5 months. I don't even want to call it waste 5 months. So you don't have to spend 5 months. You will be able to get the answers within a short period of time, a couple of days, even maybe even a couple of hours at one case, like to even decide what that person.
These people have a representative out here for a while now. Like, they know how to play the game too. So it's kind of tough to be like, okay, because he was showing me everything at the beginning that I needed to see. And so when we hit like the fourth and a half month, I started to see the shift and the change. And so I don't know if he could keep it going for a long period of time.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's tough out here trying to date people. It
Mm,
is.
it's
My
very is.
therapist said something to me too. He said it'll be difficult for me to try to date someone who has not done the work on themselves.
Absolutely. The more healed you become, the harder it becomes to date.
Yeah, like where all the healed people at? They ain't got no section.
They're trying to figure out whatever heal people at too. You know
Yeah,
what I
where
mean?
they at? They ain't got no section. Like in church,
It's
put me in
easy.
the side to the left. But no, and then
Yeah,
can I say one thing to the ladies I've heard tonight?
I'll go for
I
it.
noticed one key. I noticed one key thing. Everybody was talking about attention. All attention ain't good attention. So let's be mindful of the people we attend. And like we don't need attention from everybody, or all attention just not good attention. So just like be mindful who you entertaining. Because sometimes we do get bored. And Samuel, yes, we will go eat for free. So just be mindful of those things. And I to be honest, Samuel, I don't think Haitian Princess was really trying to take a dig at you. I think she was saying pretty much that she felt like you were going after women that weren't at your level. And it wasn't an insult to you. It's just sometimes we don't know where we are in a space relationship wise to dating other people. It could have been not a financial thing or anything of that nature. Sometimes we don't know what category we should be in to go after the people we need to go after, if that makes sense. But I don't really think she was trying to be disrespectful at the end of the day. But that's it, y'all. Hey, Kojo, we appreciate you for hanging in here. We know it's late your time.
So
So
good.
we appreciate you, my brother.
I appreciate
Y'all
you.
have
No
a good
worries.
night.
No worries. I appreciate y'all. All right. Thank you very much, Precious. I appreciate it. I
Have a
appreciate
good one.
it. Oh, no worries. I appreciate this. Listen, audience, thank you so much. Listen, I'll probably try and do this maybe again. I've probably will be Thursday. I think I'll be up late. Probably a Thursday. I'll probably come up a little bit and talk. We'll do this again maybe. Jafar says she wants to go up. You want to say something else? Last words. Go for it, Jafar. Yep. Oh, sorry. Go for it. Oh, sorry. It's me again. You want to say something?
No, I mean, if anything, I just wanted to encourage you and to let you know that, yeah, that what you're doing is powerful. The commentary that you give, especially on Black relationships, is very, very powerful. Just go full speed ahead because what you're doing can change our whole culture. So thanks for coming in and getting talks on our TV shows that's out here, what you're doing right now. Please, please stay doing what you're doing. It's very commendable. Thank you.
I appreciate it, sis. God bless you. Thank you. Appreciate it, man. It's all right. Thank you. But yeah, no, guys, thank you so much. Ladies as well, thank you so much. Just to say as well, listen, look, I didn't see everything that was happening. I didn't see everything that was happening in the chat. What I would say is some of you lot were a little bit harsh with Samuel when he was up here. Y'all didn't give him no grace. Some of you didn't give my boy Samuel some grace. The guy was vulnerable and sharing his particular thoughts. Some of y'all weren't vulnerable, weren't graceful. But I don't know what happened between Haitian and Samuel. I'm not going to get involved. They are two grown-ass individual people. So y'all two can sort that out, as well. So if Samuel says something that he shouldn't have said, and Haitian is that, Haitian is Haitian. She's going to let you know what she don't like, okay? So y'all two grown individuals, okay? I'm going to let y'all handle that stuff, okay? But yeah, no. I listen, it's been amazing. I you know what? Like sometimes you don't realize that just opening up this aspect maybe to hear different people and hear different thoughts and hear different dilemmas as well. It can really open your eyes up to see that people are going through things, man. Do you know what I mean? People are going through things and people want to have conversations, just be able to even just bounce off ideas and stuff like that. So, I really do appreciate everybody that came up here. You know, and thank you so much for sharing your heart, being vulnerable, and sharing the information you've had as well. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you are gonna reach out to me, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't want to hear your problems. I'm gonna be honest with you, because I'm not gonna look at it. Okay. So if you want to be able to share more of your problems with me, you gotta book a coaching session, because I will air you. Because as soon as I start seeing a long message, I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna read the first 2 lines, and then I'm gonna leave it, and it's gonna be look unseen and read, but nothing's gonna happen. So anybody out there, before you think about sending me a long ass message, book a coaching session, because I'm not gonna read it. And I don't want you to feel bad that, you know, I don't want you to feel like some way like he don't be listening to what we did. No, I see it, but I see the long message and I realize I don't have the time. Okay, so if you do want to like talk, or you want to get some coaching, or you just want to have a conversation maybe, and just want to do a back and forth, it doesn't have to always be coaching. Sometimes people just want to have a conversation and get back and forth. Then please email me. You know what I mean? So we'll set up a coaching session, or set up a session or whatever. It's not free. But then it just means that yeah, I'll be able to give it all my attention at that time, because sometimes people send me a lot of messages on DMs. Like I got a lot of like in the request part. I look at it, I see it, and then I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be a coaching session. So, but yeah, so that's what I want to say. But thank you so much. I think we'll come back again on Thursday, right? We don't have anything on Thursday, so I think we can come back on Thursday after I've done a coaching session. I can do it on a Thursday, or before the coaching session I can do it, and we'll have another session as well, another 2 hours or so to do it, right? You know, and go again. See, look at that. Samuel and Haitian already making up. Love that. Look how they're making up already. Look at that. The two of them are there together and making it up in the chat. Just beautiful. You know what I mean? I think that's two strong warriors, you know, who just don't want to give in. And I appreciate those two. Okay. Wouldn't want to be on any of their sides wrongly. You know what I mean? All right, guys and ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Like, share, subscribe, click on a bell button for notification of uploads. Let me do this, baby, because you know what it is.
Not on my watch. Not on my watch.
I appreciate you. Oh, Precious, you're absolutely right. You know what? I'm not very good at promotion, but you've said a great word. We could. They should go on a date. They should probably. Yeah, he definitely won't be taking her to a Starbucks. That's for sure. He definitely won't be taking her to Starbucks. We're going somewhere else as well. All right, cool. Let me get out of here. Hold on a minute. Let me just see. Marquita. The DP was looking kind of sweet. Let me, I need to lighten my mood. It's been a bit of a heavy one. Marquita looking like a margarita. I mean, margaritas are not usually that dark. Okay. All right, cool. So let me get out of it. Sorry, I appreciate you. All right, listen, guys, much love, appreciation. We'll see you again soon. And we'll have more of this as well going on. Okay. All right. Love and peace and hope. Much love. Bye-bye.